You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the August 18th meeting for the Michigan City Common Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
As parliamentarian of the City Council, I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. In accordance with Section 2-53E, our president and vice president are not able to be present to chair the meeting this evening. So Tim Beatry, our vice president, contacted Councilman at Large Don Prisbalinski and asked him to perform the duties of chair in his absence. And Councilman Prisbalinski has agreed to do so. So I will hand this over to him.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Before we start the meeting tonight, and, we'll stand up, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll have a silent moment of prayer or thoughts that we take into consideration what's taken place in Northwest Indiana in the last week and a half, good week and a half, and all the folks that have suffered through what's going on. Some people have lost everything. Some people have lost, monetary value, house damage, things like that. And then the other thing, so we should, in your thoughts, pray for those folks. And also, let's pray for all the workers, the emergency workers, the city workers that had to deal with all the elements and working in the city and trying to get the city back up and running, which I think they did a fantastic job in that performance. And the non-for-profits that were out supplying food and supplying shelter and bedding for folks to do. I really didn't realize that until I was at the Salvation Army this morning helping out, and they were informing me of all the work that they've done during this. So a lot of things going on in the background, and just want to thank all those folks. So let's all thank them when we have our moment of prayer tonight. And with that being said, we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a prayer. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, on the roll call, please.
Mr. Coulter.
Here.
Mr. Dabney.
Present.
Dr. Cora.
Present.
Ms. Lee. Present. Ms. Moldenauer.
Present.
Mr. Nelson.
And Mr. Nelson has not contacted me, and I checked my phone right here at 6:30, so unexcused absence, I guess.
Mr. Prisbalinski.
Aye, present.
And Ms. Tillman. We have 7 present or 6 present and 3 absent.
Yeah, and Councilman Beatry and Councilwoman Tillman both have excused. Approval of minutes from the regular hybrid Zoom meeting of July 21st and the regular council meeting hybrid Zoom of August the 5th.
I move to accept.
Support.
There's a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Ms. Nyla on the roll call.
Mr. Coulter.
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Dr. Cora.
Aye.
Ms. Lee. Aye. Ms. Moldenauer.
Aye.
And Mr. Prisbalinski.
Aye.
We have 6 in favor and no one opposed.
Reports of any standing committees? Councilman Dabney?
Yes, I have the Finance Committee minutes here. All right, tonight's Finance Committee was called by Chairman Bryant Dabney at 6:06 p.m. to review and approve claims since our last meeting. Committee members, Councilman Dr. Cora, Councilman Bryant Dabney, City Controller Tamiko Smith, and Mayor Angie were all present. Claims reviewed were $37,581.65 from the Riverboat Fund, $0 from Boyd Development, and $0 from the Rainy Day Fund, for a total claim docket of $37,581.65. There were no further questions about the docket and the claims. Councilman Dr. Cora moved to recommend approval of the docket, with the second by Councilman Dabney. The motion was approved unanimously. Chairman Dabney opened up the floor to ask if any council members had questions concerning any of the ordinance on tonight's council meeting, and there were none. Mayor Angie gave an update for this year's budget calendar coming forward and in 2006 for budget year 2027. Committee member Dr. Cora had questions for the mayor, and they all were answered. Finally, on a motion by Councilman Dr. Cora and a second by Councilman Dabney, the meeting was adjourned at 6:23 p.m. The detail of the claims are as follows. From the Riverboat Fund, we had $37,581.65, and that was to pay Everwise Credit Union for vehicle lease payoff. I'll explain a little bit when we get to the approval of the docket. And from the Boyd Development Fund, $0, Rainy Day Fund, $0, for a total claim docket of $37,581.65. So for the August 18, 2026 Riverboat and Rainy Day Fund statement of cash position, in the Riverboat Fund, we have $6,747,520.68. And the Rainy Day Fund, we have $1,099,894.46, for a total between the two of $7,847,415.14. And before we move forward, I want to make a motion that we approve changes to the docket. We needed to make changes to the docket and add this $37,581 lease payment, because I'm not sure the name of the business over there in the port that bankrupts, from what I'm hearing. And so we had to pay off this lease of $37,581. So that gives our police a chance to go out and start to negotiate ahead of time. And we didn't want to waste any more time and wait another 2 weeks to approve this $37,000. So I need a motion to make the amendment to tonight's docket to add the $37,581.65 in the Riverboat Fund.
Okay. So Councilman Dabney made the motion to put the 37,500 and
second.
yeah. Dr. Cora second the motion. Madam Clerk, on the vote.
Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee. Aye. Ms. Moldenauer,
Aye.
Mr. Preselinski,
Aye.
and Mr. Coulter.
Aye.
We have 6 in favor and no one opposed.
Okay, thank you for that. And with that concludes the Finance Committee report, and said docket will come up for approval in our next item on the agenda.
Thank you, Councilman Dabney. Finance Committee meeting, we just reported on that. Moves into the claims docket. Claims docket, on this report shows a 0, but we know that that's not correct on here. It should be 37,500.
The amendment was made,
Right.
yeah, before after the agenda was sent out. So we have the
Okay.
37,000.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So I guess what we'll do is make a motion to accept the claims that was just amended
So
for tonight's meeting.
So moved.
Support. Second, on the vote.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee. Aye. Ms. Moldenauer,
Aye.
Mr. Preselinski,
Aye.
Mr. Coulter.
Aye.
And Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
We have 6 in favor and no one opposed.
Okay, thank you. Reports from boards and commissions. Councilwoman Moldenauer.
Thank you, Councilman Prisbalinski. I have a very exciting announcement to make, especially in view of many people not having electricity for sometimes days or a week, and maybe some people still don't have it. Solar United Neighbors Indiana is going to be launching a third solar panel and backup battery exploratory and purchase cooperative. So what this means is they'll be offering free sessions on what they are, how you can obtain them, and costs. It's free to sign up for the cooperative, and you don't have to make any decision until the very end when the units have been chosen and when the installer also has been contracted with. This results in great discounts for both the equipment and for the installation. We had two of these before, and this will be the third one for Northwest Indiana, so I'm very excited. I'll be sharing with you dates and announcements of workshops and things like that when we have them established. But this is a great opportunity to explore another way to generate electricity for your home and or your business. This is in coordination with the Michigan City Sustainability Commission. The other thing, Northwest Indiana Green Drinks will be happening Thursday, September 3rd, 6:30 p.m. The topic is endangered species in jeopardy, two perspectives. It'll be chaired by Laurel Izzard, who's an artist, and by Susan Kurt, who's a biology instructor at Valparaiso University. So I think this will be interesting to look at these very special animals from two different perspectives. And you can get a link from m@savedunes.org, or you can join that evening on Save the Dunes Facebook Live. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other reports from boards or commissions? Okay. Reports of special or select committees. I just want to make a report on the LaPorte County Solid Waste District, which I am the liaison to, that Clay Turner has retired a couple months ago, but now Robin Havens is the new director of the LaPorte County Solid Waste District. And she's very well qualified. She's worked there a number of years and worked in various positions, and she will do a fantastic job for LaPorte County. And just a couple items that I'd like to bring up, being the liaison from the sanitary district and the refuse department. The directive in the city ordinance states that for yard waste, you should put your yard waste in plastic containers, 32-gallon garbage cans with lids on it to keep the rain out, and don't overfill them so that the refuse workers don't get injured. And folks still continue till today to put out paper bags with grass clippings in it. And that's not what the city wants. What happens when these bags get wet and the refuse department tries to pick them up, all the grass comes out of the bottom, and now you have a bigger mess than you had to begin with. So that's following the ordinance. And the other thing, just being a good neighbor to the city and the sanitary district, and in trying to keep water off the streets and off the curbs and corners, especially when you have a heavy rainfall, is after the rainfall occurs, go out, take a rake, and rake off the storm sewers. And if you want to, take that material and throw it in your yard waste container or throw it in your garbage can and get rid of it. Moving on from that, we now have reports from the mayor or other city officers and departments. Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening. Good evening. I know you have quite a few things on your agenda, but good evening to the presiding officer and the rest of the council, city clerk. A couple of things that I want to give an update on besides the budget and that process. First and foremost, I would like to thank all our employees who have been working long hours since the storm last week. We still have like 200 people without electricity.
Mm.
So that is now we're in day 7, right? Day 7. So we still have some that are still without. Now, one thing I will say, for me, it's not about likes and clicks online. It's really about making sure that our residents are safe and that we're doing what we're supposed to do and that we're coordinating with all the right departments. Please, if you have something that's dangerous, call. Posting on Facebook will not get you there any sooner, but our office did not receive many calls last week, which is interesting. But again, it's important that you're neighborly. If you still are cutting down limbs and trees, please put it at the curb and not in the alley. We still have a couple of alleys that we've been reporting since last week that still had some lines down with NIPSCO. Keep sending pictures, and it's still, we have some areas that are still without power. So there are about 200, and they're scattered throughout the city, not in one particular area. So they're still there. But again, Southern Baptist Disaster Relief, they've volunteered to assist residents who still need to cut down their tree limbs, so they will do it for free. We posted that information, and I will make sure you all have the phone number, but they can call 211. But those folks are wonderful. They started in the southern part of the county, but if you call them, they will help cut down your trees, the tree limbs that are dangerous, and then place them on the curb, and our folks will pick them up this week. So they'll continue working overtime throughout the week. Special shout out, our LaPorte County EMA group. They have been coordinating with everybody, offering support. So has the LaPorte Healthcare Foundation. They have been working tirelessly on food insecurity and how we can assist in that. We're working through some dollars that we have. We have about $25,000 to figure out how we want to move that throughout the community. I know there are some daycares that were still without power as of yesterday. They've lost all their food in a couple of pantries as well. So we'll continue that. But the Period Care, I do have to give them a shout out. We had some medically challenged residents, quite frankly, and Franciscan gave us several that needed some support. And Corey Solar, you know, I can't say enough. First of all, working with the individuals through their Medicaid or Medicare to see if they can be housed 7 days at their facility while their power was out. Just tremendous. But that's just one story of many. And I think it's important that people realize that these acts of God or Mother Nature, whatever you like to call her or him, are coming more often and more frequently and more violently. And I will say, in talking to Congressman Mervan, is that our tree grant saved us in many ways. We took out over 300 of our worst trees in the city. Those trees would have been on homes, went in the street, tearing down fences, power lines, etc. And because of that grant, we were able to do it. Now, we're in the midst of 2 additional tree grants that we're working on right now. I have one due September 11th and one due in October. So we will continue our tree maintenance program. But a lot of the communities that were hit the hardest, those monies were revoked from them. They lost those grants in the beginning of 2024, and we were lucky to keep ours. So that $1 million really helped us tremendously. So we'll continue helping and assisting this week and trying to make sure that we get, the streets, put it on the curb. Just stick it on the curb. We'll make every effort to get to it, but we have all the different departments helping with that. On the agenda tonight, I know FLOC is on the agenda, and I know many people are here for that. I know that the new ordinance has, they heard, you listened to what people were saying to you, and removed all the live view cameras, and the focus is really in the downtown area in Washington Park. Now, business owners, I know we have a meeting tomorrow, but they want cameras in the downtown area. This is not about surveillance. This is about a tool for our police officers. This isn't a blanket surveillance tool. And I don't know, I know it hasn't been shared widely yet, but I know that FLOC is really looking at some changes in their policies, and we're going to have to do the same. So more to come. I know that Chief Forker is here, but Assistant Chief Saparsky, this is kind of his thing. So hopefully on second reading, he can bring some additional information if you need it. But again, it's really not blanket surveillance. It's really about having a tool, but also making sure that we put some accountability measures in to our local policies as well. So that is more to come. Now, as far as the budget hearings, right now, through August 25th, we have started already meeting with department heads, and we'll do that through August 25th. And then our internal review will be August 25th through the 28th, with our final follow-up on September 4th. Now, on September 9th, that's the workshop that will be scheduled. September 9th will be the workshop scheduled for the budget rollout for you all. That will be here in the EOC. You'll get your books. We'll go back through what each of the funds mean and all of that. Give a couple of updates on Senate Bill 1, Senate Enrolled Act 1, House Enrolled Act 1001. Again, as I shared at the finance meeting, those things don't go into effect till 2029. All right. So we need to make sure that we're preparing ourselves, but they keep kicking the can down the road because they're not prepared for the things that they've passed already. So again, the council review window, once we have the first reading on September 15th, there are 5 Tuesdays in September. So that allows you the opportunity to have whatever workshops or call with departments you would like to a meeting or 2 or 3, whatever you want, whatever you decide. But that's your time to schedule those follow-up questions, because second reading will be on October 6th, and that's where you can make your amendments and your changes to the budget. And then third and final reading, October 20th. This year, that allows us 3 weeks or so to get everything into Gateway. They rolled out a new system for inputting the budgets this year, and they rolled it out on Zoom. So there was no physical meetings to really roll it out. So we want to make sure we have ample time to get the information into the system this year because of the changes. So I just want to make sure you were clear on that. And I'll make sure I send this to the clerk's office so that you all can have the timeline. Lastly, I know it's on third reading, is the sewer rate increase. And again, several workshops. I think it was beautifully laid out. We know that we've kicked the can down the road for a long time. This is just to get us to a baseline to get the Barker Lafayette and some of these other projects done. And making sure that we continue to provide the level of service that we've been providing. So, again, I hope that you support it. And that is my report. Is there any questions for me?
Any questions for the mayor from the council? Having none, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Clarence Hulse is next with a report from the Michigan City Economic Development Corporation. Semi-annual report.
Good evening, council. Thank you for your time. I'll try to be brief tonight. There's a lot going on in our beautiful city, and as much as we, there's the loss of property and stuff going on right now, and people being frustrated. And I'm glad the mayor talked about the grant for the tree removal, because that's really helped Michigan City a lot, and hope we can keep that moving forward to kind of get the trees off the power lines in the future and have better coverage. I'm here to give you a mid-year report on what's been going on in the city. I kind of want to give you a quick update on some of the things that are going on in the city right now. And there's a lot going on. I like to have you guys kind of know firsthand what's going on. So this is just a quick overview of what's going on. So after I'm finished, you guys can ask me any questions. I'll do my best to answer any questions you have. We did our 2-year salute to business last month, and on screen is a list of the companies that got awards. I want to point out that we've got a number of new restaurants that we're trying to make sure they get recognized We also have a new category called the Phoenix Award, which we try to highlight people who have invested in old properties that sat forever empty or need some major rehab. And so we're excited this year to talk about the Cellar Door, Brew Box, of course, Casa de Libres, the old library, and the old train station, and so this is a great project. That's pictures from our event we had. Our speaker was Scott Dolson, who was a hometown boy. He is the lead director for IU Bloomington, and so he gave a great story of the whole hiring of coaches, the road to the football championship. So very down to earth, but he was glad to be back home and saw a few folks he hadn't seen in a while. So we were excited to have him here back in his hometown. I want to go back, flash back to the past, just to give you a little history or just some pictorial. We talk a lot about development, and sometimes you got to look back and see what things used to look like. So the frames on the upper side are some of the buildings, and I'll give you some of the dates with the pictures are there, and then what they look like today. But when I look at some of these things, I tend to appreciate the work that has been done, not only by my office, but city staff, investors, residents. There's been a lot of people who have done the work here in Michigan City. So I tell people this is a team sport. There's a lot of people involved. Every city department is involved in some avenue of development, whether it's the clerk at the desk, the people in permitting, water, sanitation, permitting, but there's somebody involved somewhere that makes it happen. And of course, the investors and now the residents making sure these businesses stay alive. So a lot of people are involved from different angles to make this happen. But this is exciting to see what the city has come to over the years. Again, some other pictures. Look at what some of the streets used to look like. Brew Box, very transformative project for those of you who've been here a while, from what it used to look like and what it is today. Current developments underway. Housing is big. A lot of housing development across the city, different types, and so that's exciting for us. More development in the downtown and midtown. We're looking at a new bank in the downtown. They're already moving in. If you look on the first floor, there's boxes and shelves and the cubicles, and so we're expecting about 50 new employees there in the next 6 to 12 months. So that's exciting for us. The church doing a fantastic job. I've watched that since last year, and it's coming along, but it's been a lot of work, and it's gonna just all the tuck pointing and the bell tower, but a lot of work, and that church will look fabulous when it's all said and done. But a lot of money being spent in that church. Right now downtown, the Lakeshore Coffee expansion. For those of you who like to come downtown and grab coffee, they're trying to have a nice patio on the outside in the future. Again, other projects, they're under construction. They just completed that building on Highway 20. Also the Hyundai dealership on Highway 20 and the Drive and Shine car wash on the corner of 20 and 421. The Aldridge building, done by Holiday Properties. This is a quick build. And if you go past it, I think they're already putting the roof on, but great project, over 65,000 square feet, light industrial building. And we're talking to people who are looking to move in there right now. So again, trying to get beside retail and office jobs, also more industrial jobs. The school system is also getting into the action. If you've driven past there lately, all the site's been cleared. I think they're trying to have it ready for this fall, but that's probably a little too much. But I know they're doing a lot of work right now. The weather's been holding out for them. But again, this is exciting to see a new facility at the high school. Data center, they're moving forward. They've got equipment moving in next month, and they're hoping to have this first building certified by the end of March. And so a lot of activities out there, and the economic impact is understated. A lot of restaurants, pizza places, Airbnbs, hotels are doing very well. The last 9 months, they're packed. I know one day I was out there, they ordered over 1,000 pizzas in the middle of winter. So I was like, wow. So there's a lot of food services doing very well. They have 2 or 3 food trucks out there every day. We give them a list of all the local food trucks that are out there, so the workers can get tacos or hamburgers or hot dogs out on the site. So again, lots of local business are doing well because of that. And this is a rendering of what it could look like in the future when it's all said and done. So again, just moving forward and lot of activity. Of course, the Franklin. This is a project that's we've seen it kind of just rose out the ground the last 18 months. We had a tour about a month ago on the south side. The finishes are awesome. They're hoping to have people moving in October. The goal right now is to get the south side and half the tower completed and start moving people in. So we're excited. This is 220 units, estimated to have roughly 300 people moving in over the next 9 to 12 months. So the downtown will look different next summer. That's all I can tell you, because beside the bank having people working downtown, we also have a medical clinic moving downtown with 35 new employees. So there will be people working downtown and living downtown, and that's a whole change of Michigan City downtown. Two projects that are now not under consideration. Solar is on pause. We've had sporadic conversations, but we are really booked, and in terms of just capacity, and so we've put this on pause. The other project, the options for the developer expired, and it was quickly snapped up by another buyer. So we're hoping it's going to be a building, another parking lot. But we're watching to see what happened with those sites. Fifth and Pine. This is a huge project. It's almost 7 acres. The goal is 500 apartments, 40,000 square feet grocery, and 20,000 square feet commercial. It's in 2 phases. Phase 1 is going to be breaking ground next summer. We are close to getting the funding necessary. Go ahead. This is the first building, corner of Fifth and Pine, with parking garage, roughly 263 units, 11,000 square feet of retail. First building is estimated about $100 million. And so currently we are in the queue for tax credits from the state, and that's the final piece of the capital stack. Once we get that, the developer has the rest of the money, and so it's one small portion needed to move this forward. They're already doing construction drawings, and so the goal is to get us out the ground by early next summer. Again, you'll be probably seeing a lot of work being done, just site clearing and just the normal pre-development type stuff. I know they were out there early this year doing drilling on the ground, but this is an exciting project for a piece of property that has two, that didn't go forward. And so having a developer have not missed one deadline to date that we've set, and they're excited to make this project work. And it's about 5 stories, so it's not a high building, and so we're excited about that. This is the one I talked about. The former HealthLink building will be the new North Shore Health Center. One of the things we've asked for, and they've decided to do, is to put a pharmacy back in the downtown. And so for those of you who've been here for a while, we had I think a family pharmacy that was bought by CVS, then closed it. And so having a pharmacy downtown is going to be key to having people live downtown, walk to a grocery store, walk to a pharmacy. So have a real neighborhood, a real village within the downtown. So, and that's the goal, is to have a walkable downtown that you don't really need a car. You can just eat, walk, work, live, shop, buy medicine downtown, see a doctor downtown. They're expecting 35 employees, medical and nurses. Again, this directly across the street. We've had a couple of renditions of this project, but this project is going through redesign. We had the first rendition, that was a restaurant, and then people living on the second floor. It's now going to be a cafe and a social sport club, and it's very high tech from what we've seen. You can walk on the court and press a button and play volleyball, pickleball, or basketball. So this is different, and nothing in the region like this. And so we're excited. This is across from the medical clinic, so don't get hurt. But this is exciting to see people who can actually live downtown, play downtown, shop downtown, because one of the things we've been thinking about with the RDC and the ADC is we get people living downtown now. So what do they do after hours? I mean, you can only drink so much. So you want to have other venues beside restaurants and bars. And so we're trying to get more places where people can go and hang out and have fun. So that's the intention. Still working on 2 business parks, Tailwinds, that's scheduled to break ground this fall, and still working on what Ameriplex would look like. We're running into some wetland issues right now, so we're trying to work through that. So the site plan will look very different by the time we're finished. But the council already approved the loan for the tailwinds, and so we're working through all the engineering and all the different things they did to get their permits right now. School board announced they're going to spend $182 million in the next 5 years on renovation of their facilities, and so this is exciting again to see public sector dollars being spent to improve facilities across the city. So there'll be a lot more jobs in construction, and hopefully more teachers and more people in the school system. So we're trying to get more kids to you guys. Of course, the Franciscan Medical Arts Complex, that's still under consideration with different work being done, a lot of feasibility being done right there right now. Catering was bought by Hutchins Food Group, so that is still there in a different company. Some changes to it, but not much. We've talked to them, but they have about 20,000 square feet of space they don't need. So they've talked to us about doing a co-working space on site for the future. So we're kind of working with them to figure out what that could look like. Market Flats, that's a 200-unit apartment complex, and that will be half of that is we're looking for workforce housing as part of that mix. So 100 more or less market and 110 workforce housing, the key. So we're excited about this project. This came forward to the council a couple of weeks ago. This is Garden Estates, known as Pine Tree Courts, but we're excited that this will see a brand new facelift and really improve people's lives by having better living conditions on that property. And so this is, for me, is a great project for the city, and I think this is exciting to see this happen. And there's some photos which I think you've seen before. Again, we love car washes and we love coffee. So these are two prospective projects. The old KFC is going to be a 7 brew coffee, and the old, I guess, it's been a the Creek restaurant. It's been a breakfast location. They're looking to do a Dutch Boy coffee over there, and so these are just boxes of pictures we took from their prototypes. So we're not saying this is what's going to be exactly how it's positioned, but we took some prototype shots of what they built across the region. And so again, coffee is big right now, #1 selling drink in America. And I guess car washes are big. They're everywhere. So we're still doing a lot of work with the neighborhoods. We haven't forgotten our community. And so last 2 weeks, we had the Ball State University community development course. We had over 30 people in the course. I was able to pop in a couple of times. I thought it had some great discussions on conflict resolution, conflict management, dealing with neighborhoods, dealing with growth and changes. And so I thought it was, with the times I popped in, I thought there were some great discussions. So we hope we can get it here again another point. Our neighborhood leadership program begins again this fall, so we'll be announcing that very soon. And we're having a meeting this Thursday in the EOC Thursday night to talk about neighborhood grants and also the MCNLA program. So that's exciting for us. Again, some of the things we got going on beside the normal work we do with talking to investors and talking to business people and doing all the stuff you see on Facebook, all the ribbon cuttings. We work with the city to put together a couple of grants. One was the one for the opportunity zone to make sure we can keep our zone for another 10 years. We applied for the state on the city's behalf. We also work with the city to do a FDA grant to help downtown plan out for putting money into landscaping and sidewalks for downtown and midtown for an FDA grant. We also work with the city to apply for grants for T-Mobile. We're trying to get 2 alleys in the city lit up so people can actually hang out in the alleys with lights across the alleys. And we're trying to find ways to make that look great for the city. And of course, we talk about the Neighborhood 101 event and the grant announcement next 2 days. We're having a Brownfield seminar on September 23rd, and our program begins, leadership program begins September through November. We're working with Google right now to talk about community engagement. They're working with a number of nonprofits to help with contributions. And so we're trying to find ways to make sure the community is taken care of by the business community and also improve the quality of life overall. So questions?
Thank you, Clarence. Yeah, Dr. Cora?
Yeah, thank you, Clarence, for that wonderful report. I serve as a liaison on the MCEDC, so I've been really excited about all the new developments, focusing on attracting new businesses, new housing, focusing on neighborhoods and redeveloping old buildings. So I'm really excited about that. Mr. Alts, I wanted to ask you, today we are going to be discussing about this flock system. What does do you have any, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but what does the business community feel about that?
Well, I think anytime you can mitigate loss, commercial loss, that's always a good thing for business. So I think one of the things that Flock does, I mean, if you have high crime, that deters pedestrian traffic or those traffic in period, just having visitors come to your community or even residents that want to come out and shop. So I think having some kind of deterrent is helpful. If you have high crime, you pay high insurance premium. And so I think having a deterrent in your community will let the people who are prone to do those things not come to your community. And so I know people have concerns, and like I do, in terms of how when it's being used the wrong way. But I think there's ways that can be overcome. I mean, people have been misusing information when it was paper, and we have to overcome those issues. And so now that's electronic, we have to find ways to do the same thing. And I know by reading what's been going on out there across the country, there are ways they're doing that in terms of how the timing, the number of people who can get on the system, what they're looking for. So they're watching people who are actually on the system. But I think from a business perspective, having a deterrent to crime and helping your property not being broken into, that improves your quality of life, improves the business climate. And I think any business who want to have more businesses or people come and use their business want to see something like that in their community.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I have a couple questions. Number one, in the Midtown area, what are the plans to help develop that going from 11th Street down to Cold Spring Ave?
Currently, the city has hired a consultant. They were here about a month ago to look at both Midtown and Michigan Boulevard. The goal is to look at how we can get those areas to develop. What are some of the obstacles, which usually has to do with zoning. If you move something, you can't put it back. And so they're looking at those issues right now. But also the FDA grant we just applied for covered Uptown and Midtown. Because we're trying to make sure whatever monies can come in the north side also flows into the south side. And so because it's part of the TOD district, when we apply for a grant, it covers, we're looking at like Wabash all the way down to Amesfield and Pine Street all the way down to Barker. And so we're finding ways to make sure we can improve those areas, sidewalks, lighting, landscaping, but also the zoning. If it changes where you can build to the sidewalk, that'll be a big plus. Last week, the commission voted to give 3 facade grants to 3 businesses in Midtown. And so you'll start seeing some changes there because the facade grant now covers Midtown. And so you'll start seeing some changes. Next year, there'll be some new signage, people with paint and landscaping doing on their own property. So we've had 2 or 3 large buildings bought. We've met with a couple of the owners. They're trying to figure out, they're doing feasibility on what's the best thing to put in it. And so I guess it's part of development. It doesn't happen like overnight downtown. Downtown didn't happen overnight, but we are now focusing our attention on the south side.
Good. And I'm glad to hear that. I mean, I've seen things on the north side, I've seen on the south side, and I walk Midtown area, and to me, it's like a lost child. It doesn't gather any attention, but I'm glad to see the city's focusing that way. And we'll get things developing in that area. Because
we also were able to get 8 liquor licenses from the state this year from Midtown. Again, that will change what can go into some of those empty buildings. Because before you couldn't get a liquor license past a little past 11th Street. So there's now 8 for that area. Again, small steps, but trying to do things to incentivize business owners in those areas.
Right.
The facade program is now over there too. So there's small things we're doing and just keep telling people because not everybody is aware of it. So you just got to keep telling people.
Okay. Well, thanks about that. And then what's the alley lighting project?
We been looking at different areas to get grants, and T-Mobile gives about 50 grand a year to certain communities. So we applied this year. We didn't get it. We are applying again, but we have 2 alleyways in downtown, one between 7-Eleven and the Art Space building that we think could be lit up. We can walk there. You can have chairs, hang out, and the social sporting club, they're going to put pull-up doors on that side towards the alleyway. So you can walk into the alley and walk into the social club. So, and then the other alley is built by the Heron Bistro has some areas that are wide open areas that is just not being, nobody uses it. And so we're trying to find ways you can just hang out in the alleys, but have it lit up. So,
Okay.
and that's not unusual. Other cities have done that across the country where they activate those spaces. So, but we want people to come downtown and hang out downtown, or residents come and enjoy downtown. So
I agree. Any other questions? Councilman Dabney?
Not really a question, but comment in the fact that the businesses that are coming downtown be bringing more people that are employed. Because, you talk to the small business owners downtown, and their main thing is they need foot traffic. And so when these places show up downtown, there'll be employees that will be there all day. So I'm glad to see this, and I hope we finally turn the corner. I remember how many years ago when Roger Brooks came to Michigan City and kind of did the same thing.
15, 16. Yeah.
Yeah, 15, 16, somewhere along those lines when I was a pup on the council. But I hope this time we turn the corner and continue moving forward with this development and all these things that are happening, so we can really get some stuff done down there.
Councilwoman Molnauer?
Thank you, Councilman Prisbalinski. Clarence, I was really happy to hear that the health clinic that's going in on Franklin Street, actually that a pharmacy will be a component of that, because I think that's an important anchor to have for a walkable community. The other thing is a grocery store, and it seems like I'm remembering Third Pine was supposed to have a grocery store second phase of the building.
Yes, grocery stores are chicken and egg. They want about 2,000 people within half a mile, and so we're building up the density to get to that. But as part of second phase is a 40,000 square feet grocery store. So we're backing our way into it.
That's wonderful. That will take care of a food desert for that whole north side, actually.
Thank you.
I have one question. All right, thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Clarence, to you and your team for all your hard work with everything. In regards to Marquette Mall, I've had a lot of questions. Is that going to be demolished, or are they going to refurbish that building for the new medical facility?
I think a little of both. I think part of the feasibility is to figure out what part they demolish and what part they keep. And keep in mind, once you start tearing down walls, it's going to cost you more to put back new walls, because you're moving interior walls and you've got to build exterior walls. And so that's all part of the analysis engineering. So there's a lot going on right now, and they've got a great team of people. They've hired some people who are doing all that work, because it's easier said than done. Because they're looking at probably bringing in a couple other tenants and other people who want to be in there. So there's a whole lot of discussion on who gets to be what part of the complex. But I mean, they're a great developer, and they've hired some good people. We've talked to them. We just got to let them do their thing, so to speak. But it's not going to be cheap. It's probably over $100 million worth of investment when it's all said and done.
And is there a timeline for that?
Well, the first time we talked to them, they were very ambitious. They said next year, and they all want to be done. I don't think so. So I think they'll start next year, but I think they'll be done next year. I think they'll probably get that portion done next year. Because once you start moving, the whole building, you find asbestos, you find stuff, and that slows you down. I mean, or building down with the sports club, that's one of the issues. They had to get the asbestos removed after they started. So that will just put a couple of months on your project. So, but I mean, they're committed to doing a great, it's called a MOB, medical office building, and super. So, I mean, they're going to have, from soup to nuts, everything. You get your hair scanned, your toenail scanned. So everything will be in the building, day surgery. So it's an exciting project for the city.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clarence. Madam Clerk, next on our agenda, are there any petitions,
There are no petitions.
communications?
Correspondence received in the clerk's office on August 12th from Scott Mellon regarding comments made about MCPD flock raven systems. President.
Okay, and one thing I'd like to read under communications this evening was a email that all local elected officials got from our Congressman Mervan, and it tells a little bit about what's been going on with the natural disaster we had here and the disaster response and how to get assistance if you need it. He says that as Northwest Indiana navigates the disaster response and recovery process following the severe storms beginning on August 11th, he's committed to being a resource and a trusted source of information for local governments, elected officials, and residents. At this point, Federal Emergency Management, FEMA, has approved an emergency declaration for Indiana, making certain federal disaster assistance resources available to the state of Indiana to supplement state and local response efforts. This authorizes FEMA to identify, mobilize, provide equipment and resources necessary to alleviate the impacts of the emergency. Specifically, $5 million in funds have been made available statewide, with Category B, emergency protective measures and direct federal assistance approved, allowing federal resources to be deployed to help with the immediate response. And then for further information, if you need it, on local resources and funding obligations available updated, you can go to www.fema.gov disaster 3651. But, however, the process for requesting a major disaster declaration to unlock the public assistance and individual assistance funds remains ongoing, and damage assessments in impacted counties are underway. And right now, to support this process, I encourage localities to continue documenting damages to public and private property, maintaining detailed documentation and receipts, taking photographs and videos of the damages, and collecting verifiable data is key. And I also urge you to encourage anyone who has sustained damage is to contact 211. The number is 211, because the Indiana Department of Homeland Security is using 211 as the portal to report damages to substantiate any further major disaster declaration request. And he goes on to say, I will continue to closely coordinate with FEMA, state officials, and localities on disaster response and recovery efforts in our region. And I am working in conjunction with the IDHS and FEMA to assemble further information on the current Indiana Emergency Declaration and ongoing response efforts. So if you have sustained any damage, dial 211 and tell them what the issue is, and they'll take it from there. And any resolutions? No resolutions. Okay, our first ordinance this evening, Madam Clerk, by title only.
An ordinance on first reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the rainy day fund for limited use of flock camera system for the Michigan City Police Department. And this is introduced by Mr. Dabney, Mr. Preselinski, Dr. Cora, and Mr. Coulter.
And do the authors have anything that they would like to add at this time?
Yes, Mr. President.
Dr. Cora?
Mr. President, after hearing the concerns expressed here during our previous meeting regarding privacy and civil liberties, we went back to the drawing board and we came up with an ordinance which I believe balances the safety and security of our community with the privacy concerns that were expressed here. We went back to our police department, and Chief Forker is here, and we tried to figure out what are the strategic areas where this technology can be useful, and try to limit and eliminate about 24 cameras. We want to make sure that our businesses in our downtown and their customers feel safe and secure. We want to make sure that our tourists who come to our lakefront feel safe and secure. And we want to make sure that the large events that we have are also safe and secure, while at the same time making sure that the residents in our neighborhoods do not feel that they are under surveillance. So this is a difficult needle to thread, but we did the best we could. And at the same time, while we were dealing with this, the Flock company itself, under increasing pressure from public all over the country, they have made some changes and they have proposed some changes, which I'm sure Chief Forker can address. So I just wanted to give a brief summary as to why we came up with a new ordinance to address this issue. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, Councilman Dabney?
Yes, and the change in the ordinance, because there was a previous ordinance that was out there where we got
Tabled it.
yes, and so now that one is basically being replaced with this new one, and one of the big changes here is there were live cameras that were involved in the last package and the last ordinance, and those have been removed. Anybody who had a chance to read the ordinance and see those differences, that live cameras have been replaced. And I'm sure I will comment once again after public comment as well. But I'm trying to remember exactly when we started. I know when the idea of the flock camera started here in Michigan City, Chief Dion Campbell was around at the time. He brought us down, a couple of councilmen down to show us this product. And so we've been working with this for quite a long time. And so what you see tonight, the $300,000 that we be put forward for this will be additions to what is already out there. And like I said, it's been going for quite a long time, and now it's been on television on different channels all over the place, and it's become a really big issue. And I do understand, as Councilman Permalinsky said as well, regarding people worried about their safety and things of that sort. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot more discussion. We're on first reading, and we're going to have 3 readings with it. So there's going to be plenty of discussion going forward.
Chief Forker?
Again, thank you, Council. We again appreciate you guys bringing this forward again as an ordinance again on first reading. Obviously, right, we want to take the opportunity to listen to the council members, listen to the concerns that were expressed at the previous meeting, right, and come up with a revision. So I got obviously a presentation here for you. Talk about some of those revisions and what we have spoke about already, and we'll just go into a little bit more detail. And again, like Councilman Dabney elaborated too, right, we will hear this on 3 readings, and obviously we'll continue to be here, obviously to provide updates and, changes in which, as we see this through to hopefully third reading. So, again, obviously, right, tonight I wanted to present the revised Safe City Initiative. This proposal has changed significantly from what we originally presented. Our goal is to explain what we heard, what we changed, and what we believe it provides meaningful public safety value and how we intend to move forward in this capacity. The core message is simple, right? We listened, we redefined our proposal, and we became much more focused. Rather than pursuing technology that simply put at broader coverage, we concentrated on those areas and capabilities where we believe the greatest impact of public safety. The original proposal was tabled. We continued that conversation rather than walking away from it. We met with and spoke with council members, residents, business owners, community leaders, and flock representatives. Right. The new proposal is a result of those conversations and our willingness to reconsider the original approach. So what changed? The most significant changes, as you alluded to, was the removal of 20 fixed live view cameras were proposed throughout the city. Right, we shifted away from a broad permanent camera infrastructure and towards a more limited strategic approach while preserving existing LPR, gunshot detection, and again, continuing to explore the DFR and limited PTZ cameras, and added a mobile trailer. So the focused deployment, right? For the PTC's cameras, we focused concentrating on high public areas where there is a clear public safety purpose. Right, Franklin Street, the South Shore train station, Washington Park, all experience significant pedestrian traffic, events, transportation, and calls for service. The goal is targeted deployment and not just citywide coverage. The DFR, drone as a first responder, is really about getting better information to officers sooner. In certain calls, a drone may be able to arrive before responding officers and provide real-time information about what is happening. Right, this can improve decision-making, officer safety, resource deployment, and our response to everything from critical incidents to missing persons and to rescue situations. The mobile safety trailer. Right, the mobile safety trailer gives us flexibility without requiring permanent infrastructure. We can deploy to festivals, major events, emerging crime concerns, and other temporary needs, and then move it when those conditions change. Right, this in many ways, this reflects the philosophy behind the revised plan. Move the technology where the need is rather than permanently placing technology throughout the city. And why we changed, right? I believe this is an example of the process working the way it should, right? Concerns were raised, right? We listened to them. It's important we evaluated what truly provided operational value. Changing the proposal should not be viewed as abandoning technology. It demonstrates that we are willing to balance public safety needs with community concerns and make adjustments when appropriate. Regarding privacy, oversight, and accountability, we recognize that in any discussion involving public safety technology, we also must include privacy and accountability. Access to these systems will be limited to authorized personnel, activity will be logged and reviewable, policies will continue to evolve, and misuse will be addressed through our established disciplinary process. The review also includes data retention, how long the information is maintained, when should it be deleted, and when there may be a legitimate investigative need to preserve it. We are closely reviewing Flock's new 7-day data retention recommendation and we'll be looking to make those appropriate adjustments in our current policies. As our technology evolves, I think our safeguards must evolve with it. And again, so what's still being finalized, right? I just want to be transparent about what we do know today, right? We have established the overall direction, the priority areas, the technology we believe should remain a part of the proposal, but exact locations, DFR configuration, trailer configuration, right, and contract terms are still being finalized. What this initiative is and what it is not. Right, this initiative is not about replacing police officers or creating blanket service throughout or blanket surveillance throughout Michigan City. It is about providing officers with better information, improving situational awareness, making better deployment decisions, and giving the department more flexibility in responding to public safety needs. Technology should support good policing and should not replace it. So in closing, at the end of the day, the revised plan reflects the simple approach. We listened, we adjusted, we preserved what we believe matters the most. The initiative is more focused, more strategic, and more accountable than the original proposal.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, our goal is to give our officers better information so they can make better decisions and better serve the people of Michigan City. So again, if you want, again, I know we talked a little bit about it, but Flock is revising their data retention plans. I know that was a big concern of that. And I would expect here in the very near future, we will be evolving our policies and procedures, to align with that. So going from the 30-day, their recommendation, previous recommendation from Flock was 30-day retention to a 7-day retention plan. And then still the ability to preserve evidence with the appropriate, essentially sign-offs or case numbers or, investigative matters. So. And thank you. I'm obviously open to any questions that you may have that I might be able to answer. But again, hopefully that summed up essentially, I think, what we're looking towards with that more strategic planning.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. Are there any questions from the council? Councilwoman Daisy Lee?
Thank you, President. I know you mentioned different brands for the license plate readers in the past. Have you looked into different brands for these specific cameras that have better privacy policies already in place?
We have looked at different plans when we look at some of the things that Flock does overall in collaboration with regards to cameras and software implementation, right? And being on one platform. Our office or our car is essentially our office, and we already have a significant amount of tasks running in those offices. So ultimately we're trying to be more focused on one type platform where all that information can be processed on one platform. So.
And do you have a timeline for, you said Flock was looking at their privacy policies. Do you have a timeline for when those are going to be implemented?
New Flock users or new Flock, I would say contracts will have the 7-day retention going forward, right? Existing Flock users, essentially we have a timeline to get on board with that. So, I'm guessing it'll probably be by the next reading. We'll have those policies, or at least submitted those changes for our policies in place.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Molinauer?
Thank you, Councilman Prisbalinski. I had quite a few people send me emails, so I wanted to share those thoughts with you so that they've been, become public knowledge. I had about 1/3 of my question, 1/3 of the people that contacted me were for the system as it is. 1/3 wanted the contract canceled. And 1/3 were for expansion, except for live cameras. And then there was another group except for drones. So that was pretty well divided between those people. I am wondering if there can be restrictions placed on how far the data is shared. Texas seems awfully far away, whereas neighboring states of Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky seem appropriate to be sharing data with. Second thing is that can parameters be set up so that data cannot be shared with ICE? This was a real concern of many people in our community. Since we are a community of immigrants who live here, work here, study here, and contribute positively to our community. I was glad to see up there that the police department is going to set up some policy and procedures, but what alarmed me was the number of incidents that have come forward of police tracking residents, ex-wives, girlfriends, family members inappropriately when they're not related to a criminal investigation. So I hope that when you set your policy, there will actually be really strong penalties associated with that. If any officer is found to potentially be in violation of this, that they be suspended immediately. And that if it is determined that they have used this technology inappropriately, that would result in termination. Also, currently, I'm wondering, are you using right now the audit assistance? And are case numbers being assigned or applied to all searches that are being done by your department?
audit assistance is being, right, we are currently using that, right, which is essentially an AI type audit, right, with flags suspicious, like searches, right? If officers generally search, right, afternoon shift, they work between 2 and 10 p.m. and all of a sudden maybe they're searching at 2 a.m. Right? That's the type of flags, or the AI audit, the system does those things, right? Recognizes, irregular type searches, flags those, sends us that notification. Yeah. So that's currently being used. And then, I just drew a blank. Sorry. Second question was
Our case numbers.
Yeah.
Being
Case numbers.
applied to,
Yep.
to the searches.
For searches.
Okay, great. And then the last thing I had, I actually watched the video that the Flock CEO president put together, watched the whole thing. And he did, make the announcement that they're reducing the data storage from 30 to 7 days. But there would be the opportunity for police departments to decide if they wanted to raise the number of days on their own. And they could do that to 14 to 30, whatever. So I'm wondering if that's something that your department would be considering, even though Flock is setting this 7-day limit to hold the data.
Yeah, I think we're already looking in that direction, right? Again, I think as we've looked at our data, right, we do, I think, fall in line with what Flock represented, right? A lot of the 90%, say, of the searches are done within that first week, right? And I'm sure we fall in that exact same category, right? But there is obviously, right, maybe the possibility or the need to preserve some of that evidence within that 7 days for, extended type search, right? I'm guessing Flock's not going to approve anything past their original 30-day retention period, in which they've always, upheld. So, again, I think there's good safeguards in that. I think like I indicated before, I think Flock is, they're making changes, right, as they see fit as well, right? They see some of the, they're reviewing their data that they have in the retention periods, right? And again, initially their plan was 30 days. Well, they've listened, right? They continue to work and evolve as well. And I think it's important that we continue to do that. We continue to have these conversations, and, obviously taking notes on, some of your concerns as well about searches and how far and whatnot. So, appreciate that feedback, because that's ultimately what we're looking for.
Yeah, and I really want to thank you for listening, because 7 days was a number that kept coming up in a number of our workshops. And your police department didn't think it would be possible to do it within 7 days. So I'm glad you looked at your data and figured out that it potentially is possible to do that. And this falls pretty closely in line with the recommendations of the ACLU, also a 7-day limit. So thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Councilman Dabney?
Yeah, real quick. I know we talked about the audit feature that you guys are using now, but now there's going to be another step to that where they call it auto lock. If you have an audit of a certain officer or whoever is doing those searches, like you said, all of a sudden, they work 10 to 2 in the afternoon. Now they're doing 2 a.m. that the system could auto lock them out.
Yeah, we haven't met with Flock regarding, we've received their correspondence, right, about their new data retention plans. We haven't had those meetings to talk about, like you're talking about some of the specifics and some of those things. But yeah, there's some of that technology out there that I think they're using that right as well, which you could ultimately, it sounds like, lock somebody's searchability, right, based on irregular activity. So again, those I think are just some of the safeguards, and again, help us, help ourselves, right? Because again, unfortunately, there are a few bad apples, right? One person does, or a few people do bad things. Again, personally, I don't think we have those officers within our department, but if we do, we need to hold them accountable. I think if you speak to our police commissioners, right, I think they'll explain or be willing to that, we want to hold our people to the highest, right? We all want good policing, right? We want to hold our officers to the highest, standards and accountability. So again, I appreciate that.
Dr. Cora?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Chief, Councilman Moldenar brought up some important issues about putting some internal guardrails. So I was hoping, as we go through the second and third reading, if you can convene a group and maybe come up with some internal guardrails. That way, this information will not be misused, and maybe you can share it with us at the next meeting. Thank you.
Councilman Coulter?
Thanks, Mr. President. The last ordinance that we were looking at also wanted 300,000, and then this one's narrower in scope but asks for the same amount of money. Could you just explain why?
The technology, you talked about the live view cameras that would have been placed throughout the city would go on existing infrastructure, right? So some of the, say the LPR cameras that are already in place have the solar panel, have SIM card, right? Data already at a location. Those essentially would just attach to that and use the existing infrastructure. Live view or the PTZs and the trailer would obviously create new infrastructure cost to that. So essentially it's like a swap this for that like type things. Again, Flock does have some things in place regarding the technologies or the things needed to reach that safe city discount, right? In which we're looking at, if you're doing live view camera, drone and trailer, say, right? Like, essentially using, if we were essentially to remove one of those things, the discount goes with that.
Okay, thank you.
So.
No other questions from the council. Thank you, Chief. And we will open it up for public comment. And during public comment, and just let me remind you, you have a 3-minute time period, and everyone will be held to that. We have a lot of people that want to speak tonight. Thank you.
Ernie Hallahan, 302 Gladys Street. Before I came here tonight, I was watching news. And on the news, the governor of Georgia totally banned flock completely in Georgia. That was on the news right before I came here tonight. And South Bend has issues with several of their officers using it for things that aren't supposed to be used for, following their ex-wives or other things like that. And they stated that those guys would be arrested and would be charged with a felony for doing that. So that is handled. I think it's a good thing, but I think it's a bad thing. So it has its good points and bad points. And if it's being abused like that, it has bad points. And I think they're pretty well covered in knowing who's using it for what and when. So hopefully nobody in Michigan City, our force, would do anything like that.
Thank you, Ernie.
All right.
I'm Steve Coyle. I live in Long Beach and own property at 1612 Maple Street. I'm here to ask this council to reject the ordinance expanding the flock camera network. I want to tell you why using a hypothetical game I call TRACK. TRACK. The players are decision makers in a hypothetical city. A mayor, a council, a police chief. The contestants are everyone with a phone. Here's how you score. Post a player's location, 1 point. Post a photo in a location, 2 points. Post a video in location, 3 points. The contestant with the most points at the end of the month wins a cash prize. It's a simple game. Think of it as Flock with points and a cash reward. Now imagine playing track for real. Every day. Contestants everywhere, parking lots, sidewalks, stores, and restaurants. Nothing deleted, all of it searchable forever. I believe that after the first day, the players will start changing their behavior. Where they go, how they got there, and who they're seen with. In other words, the player's behavior is becoming controlled. But give it 2 or 3 months and something worse happens. The players' patterns become predictable. Track will predict where the players will be on a Tuesday morning, who the player will meet on Thursdays, even what restaurant or bar a player will go to on Fridays. Track doesn't just watch the player anymore. It can predict the player's every move. And once you're predictable, you're no longer free. You're managed. You're controlled. That is what the Flock Network is doing to every citizen in this city automatically every day, without our consent and without a warrant. The difference between Track and Flock is that nobody asked me or anyone else in this city if we wanted to play. You made that decision for us. This ordinance spends $300,000 of taxpayer money to expand the Flock network. I'm asking you to reject this ordinance tonight because when people know they're being watched, tracked, and soon predicted, they change who they are. Flock is not an investigative tool. Flock is a surveillance tool for monitoring and controlling a population. So I'll leave you with this question. If Track were real and you were a player, would you call it public safety? Or would you call it control? Thank you.
I'm short. Savannah Lyles, Muir Road, 7676 North Muir Road. Less than a month ago, council voted to indefinitely table the expansion of Flock surveillance technology, but tonight it's back. So I want to know what changed, because the public's concern hasn't changed. The questions about privacy, data sharing, oversight, and Fourth Amendment protections hasn't been answered. Businesses want this expansion, then why is it taxpayer dollars being asked to support businesses' security surveillance? And the people who contacted you asking you not to expand the system haven't suddenly changed their minds. Nationally, cities are terminating or reconsidering Flock contracts because of privacy and civil liberty concerns. Flock itself is changing its practices following reports of misuse. So why is Michigan City rushing forward? We already have 2.1 cameras per 1,000 people, which is the most per capita in the state of Indiana. I support our police, but supporting police law enforcement doesn't require writing technology companies blank checks, and public safety does not require sacrificing public oversight. And I don't think it's accurate to say that live view cameras have been totally erased, because point tilt zoom cameras do exactly that, and they use AI to look at faces much more than license plate readers, and they can be used as live view. Also, I hated seeing our police department showing a drone camera being used during community events. We want people to come to Michigan City and feel comfortable here. Who wants a drone flying over your head at community events? Show us the evidence that justifies this expansion. We already have more cameras than most cities. Show us the policies protecting our data. Tell us who can access it and what safeguards exist against misuse. So what did indefinitely tabled actually mean? Did it mean this council intended to listen and reconsider? Or did it simply mean let's delay it long enough until we have enough votes to secure it? If you're confident this is the right decision for Michigan City, it can withstand this. So please don't vote tonight. Table it, hold workshops, answer the questions. Trust the people of Michigan City enough to let them have a voice in what happens to our money, our privacy, and our city. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening. Linda Stoltz, 201 Euclid Avenue. Thank you for letting me speak. I just have really a couple of questions. I know you can't answer them tonight, but if they're around schools, would kids who are getting in fights, would they be then, would this be evidence used to investigate things like that? I do worry about all the people that get caught up sort of maybe with small, petty kinds of things that would then become criminalized. And then I also wonder if these videos will be shared with the U.S. government, not merely ICE, but Homeland Security and the, national security, elections. I'm particularly worried about the elections coming up, and it's a threat. So I appreciate you listening to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Valerie Pendergast, 305 Decatur Street. I have been a resident of Michigan City for over 10 years now, and I was here in this room in 2019 when the license plate readers were first proposed, and my thoughts and feelings have not changed. Cameras alone do not violate our Fourth Amendment rights, but Flock systems are not merely cameras. What does violate our rights is the creation of a searchable database of the everyday movements of Michigan City residents. These contracts are rife with misuse, leading to the cancellation and rejection of flock contracts. Cities and states all over the country are being forced to draft laws to protect citizens from flock misuse. Why do we want a surveillance system in our city from which we need legal protection? That doesn't sound like something that increases safety. Why are we resorting to mass surveillance, which, let's face it, that's what flock is any way you want to turn it, to prevent crime? Why are we not looking to other cities to learn how they have successfully reduced crime? What are evidence-based strategies that we could implement locally? What economic and public health options are available in Michigan City? I'm raising 2 kids here in Michigan City, and flock cameras do not make my family feel safe. I am unwilling to sacrifice my family's privacy for the illusion of safety. I urge you to vote no to this ordinance and to cancel the city's current contract with Flock. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dune Pendergast, 305 Decatur Street. I'm 14 years old, and flock cameras give me a state of paranoia that make me cry a lot. I know I can't sound very serious among you people, but I can try at my young age. There are so many misuses, and I have a list. We have Bibb County 3 times have been used for stalking. They've stalked people using the flock cameras. Morrisville has stalked. Coweta County, non-law enforcement has hacked into the flock cameras, and I have so much more just from this month alone. I have over 15 counties and cities that have misused, stalked, or even pulled out guns on teens who had done nothing wrong because of the flock cameras. All this month, all this year. And I hope that you take the opinion of a child seriously, because I am terrified of these flock cameras. They make me feel devastated that my town would be trying to do this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. I know my fellow residents are going to get mad at me, but flock cameras don't bother me. I live in a really bad neighborhood. I'm sorry, my house where I live at 1316 Ohio Street. Just a few months ago, there was a young man, he got murdered there at 11th and Wabash Street, and he was captured a block up from my house. And the day before, I had Sergeant Mike Oberly and Detective Ann Painter come. They spent about 3 hours going through my Ring camera. And I said they looking for evidence. He wanted to see he walked by his house after he did it. And I told my mother, well, last year, police were in a high-speed pursuit with a Hispanic gentleman from South Bend. He blew a tire there on Franklin Street, and when they were chasing between the Ramada and the McDonald's, and he had a gun in his waistband, and he went and pulled it. And I said, the police shot him. I said, you know who the officer was that shot him? It was him. Then it was on March 23rd, 2004, right next to my house at 1312. That's where Sergeant Mark Zumek got shot that morning. Mark still got a great big dimple right here in his cheek where he got shot, and he still got the slug lodged in his spinal cord. It was a lover's triangle. 2 people got killed. 1 person almost got stabbed. And Mark got shot. Happened right when the time the school children were all waiting for the school bus. That's why the 4 officers went in after him. I'd like to know, where were those flock cameras when Millie Jenkins was taken from our midst? We all know the story, what happened with their family. So I'm for them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, Anastasia Gumbs. I live at 222 Springland. I just had a few questions for the council. If we consider that nationwide, police departments are trending away from license plate scanning technology, specifically flock cameras, especially considering the lawsuits following the dozens of officers that have misused that technology, why are we as a city deciding to invest further in technology the rest of the country is rapidly abandoning? Los Angeles just decided to suspend their contract with Flock Cameras. They have 138 cameras for 3.8 million people. Why? We have 36 or 32,000 people and we have over 70. What is going on that we really think these taxpayer funds would be better spent on? Like, we vocally disapprove of it. You indefinitely tabled this amendment. And now we're back a month later? I don't understand. These are not benign tools. These are cameras leased from companies that profit off selling our data. Other states are bagging them in trash bags. There is a reason for it. They can't even take them down if they would like to because we do not own these cameras. We do not own our data. We don't own our privacy anymore. But you know what is ours is our Fourth Amendment rights. The people in Michigan City overall do not want these cameras in our city. We demonstrated back in 2019, as other people have mentioned, we didn't want them then. Some people do, and that's their right. But honestly, I would ask the council to focus on giving funds on helping our citizens, not giving the police new toys. Our downtown area could use public bathrooms a lot more than cameras, in my opinion. If we have money to pull from rainy day funds, it seems like we could allocate money to support more public bathrooms, but we'd rather put that money into surveilling our neighbors than allowing them dignity. You stated your priorities were keeping the businesses downtown safe, the tourists safe, and large events safe, but not the average citizen of Michigan City. You just don't want us to feel too surveyed. Thank you for telling us your priorities so plainly. Appreciate it.
Hello, my name is Wayne Wright. I own two properties here in Michigan City, 4210 East Michigan Boulevard and 221 South Dixon Street. One, your flock cameras didn't stop your police officers from stealing my auxiliary medical equipment from my backyard with a no trespassing sign. And we have no, it's open fields doctrine. Each one's a lot. In the Silawani case in the Indiana Supreme Court, 1 acre is your curtilage in a city or municipality. So the police officers went in there, stole my stuff, caused me to go to the hospital. 2, you guys got another scheme going on with this work release garbage. Basically what it is they'll assign people who don't qualify for the program. They'll put them in the program, so when they leave the program where they're not legally supposed to be, they'll rearrest them, stick them back in the county jail, and it's billed to your property taxes.
Sir, stay on the subject matter. We're talking about the flock cameras.
We're getting
not about work.
I'm working with that.
Excuse me, sir.
So
Okay.
here's the circumstances with your flock cameras. Former military intelligence for the UK, he actually works for Flock. That data gets sent back overseas. Okay, so your data is going to be transferred over there. Basically, what's done with that data is it's manipulated. It's sent back and calculated. They change the prices from the time you walk out of your house to go to the store, which they already know when you're going, and that price gets changed. They make it penny by penny, nickel by nickel, and you're paying the price with that data from those flock cameras. It's online of who this guy is and where he works. Okay. So that was plainly been exposed. They tried to have the guy arrested that caught him over there at the facility. But that was the circumstances there with your flock cameras. All your flock cameras that are on non-breakaway posts violate state statutes and they need to be removed tonight. They are a public safety danger. You run over it, it could kill the driver. So either you're for public safety or you're not. You send the police officers out. If they don't have breakaway pole, rip it down, take it to the police station, let Flock come pick their garbage up. That's it.
Thank you, sir.
Pardon me for my sudden outburst there, but this is public comment. Anyway, I want to also say thank you to all you folks that stood up here and discussed what has really been something that's raised a big issue in this country.
Sir,
And,
I didn't hear your address.
Oh, I apologize, sir. My name is Douglas Manley. I live here in Michigan City. I don't have to divulge my address because I live with my son and I'm protecting him. With that said, these fine folks here today has really touched on a lot of issues that I wanted to raise tonight. But one thing that they didn't raise tonight here is the actual legal authority police use in Indiana. And that matters here. All right. So first we have the Indiana code. It's 921-3-1. It allows police officers to use technology means for traffic enforcement, not mass surveillance. Indiana code 5-2-2 allows police officers to collect investigative data, but ALPR data is treated as investigative data, even when no crime has occurred. Local ordinances. Cities like Indianapolis, Bloomington, Evansville, South Bend, and Fort Wayne have all passed ALPR policies that allow 30 to 90-day retention, federal sharing, real-time tracking, hot list alerts, and no warrants. This is where the abuse happens. And here's the part officials don't like to admit. House Bill 1292. The bill police officers cite does not authorize flock cameras. It only covers red light cameras, speed cameras, school zone cameras, and stop arm cameras. These are traffic enforcement devices, not ALPR surveillance systems. Police blur this distinction intentionally. We know why. And the public sees right through it. So I'm going to go ahead and just end my comment tonight right here because I'm going to prepare another one for next session. And I appreciate y'all's time. You've heard.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, Council. Scott Mellon, free citizen of these great United States, currently residing at 200 Kenwood Place here in Michigan City. I'm actually going to throw you a curveball because I'm going to say thank you for listening to our concerns and making some modifications. I think that doesn't satisfy the bulk of people in this room, but I, for one, do see the difference between the immediate public safety need that our first responding drone can provide. We just had another drowning on the beach. This is another example, I feel, where an overhead view within 60 to 90 seconds of a 911 call might have been able to save a life because looking down, you can see into water pretty well. As an example. However, we've modified our live view cameras, but now we're in a tourist core or business core from 11th Street down Franklin to the beach. I also see that as a powerful public safety tool. But have we accounted for the data retention of those live view cameras or those PTZ cameras? I don't know if that's been accounted for. As you've heard tonight, Flock itself, as you know, is getting a lot of heat nationally right now. This is a national news story. You're kind of swimming against the stream right now of public sentiment. So you need to be aware of that. Also, I would point out that we're currently in labor negotiations with both the police and fire department. They both received a 2% raise last year. I don't know if you've passed that yet. We need to approve that contract for the fire, by the way. But at the same time, we're telling them in those negotiations that we're facing as a city a $5 million shortfall because of the reduction of the public safety lit from the state of Indiana. We're now, with this expansion, willing to spend an annual renewal cost of $420,000. The people in the state capital have said people need to decide where they want to spend their money. Well, I think it's pretty clear people in this room would rather give raises to our police and fire than have mass surveillance of we the people. I'd also encourage everyone here to Google the Pew National Crime Statistics. I shared those with this council, and as you can see, we're essentially at 30-year lows on all major crimes. We are literally bouncing along the bottom. President Trump's White House just announced dramatic year-over-year changes. Homicides this year are on track to be the lowest in 126 years. So with crime at decadal lows, why are we now implementing this blanket mass surveillance? Again, this public safety stuff that you're actually talking about tonight, I kind of support. It does not address the 30-day archive that the LPRs are doing. As somebody else brought out, we are massively over-camered here. I know of 60, plus there's additional with private companies and maybe the county. Compared to the compared to Los Angeles.
Time's up, Mr. Medlin.
Yes, sir.
Your time is up, Mr. Medlin.
Thank you very much. It's, you know what, Don? It's Melland, Scott Melland, 200 Kenwood Place. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott Medlin.
Hi, my name is Marisa Chapels, 229 Southwood Drive. I am beyond disappointed to see this back on the agenda. Hearing our mayor support this as well, the changes made do not address our concerns. I could restate everything I said last month when you decided to table a nearly identical ordinance, the issues around our civil liberties, privacy, how problematic Flock is as a company, and how problematic ALPRs are in general. Instead, I'm going to use my time to ask, who are these community leaders that you talk to about this? And why do you deem their voices as holding more weight than ours? I highly doubt you have heard just as many people being for this as you had against this. This is the second time in only a few weeks that this room was full of people, mostly against this Flock expansion. So who are these individuals whose voices hold more importance than your constituents? Is it the mayor? Is it the handful of business owners? Who? Another point I want to make is this is not a one-time purchase. All of these new Flock devices come with a subscription. So how much more a year is this going to cost taxpayers? In fact, I think the details of how much our current Flock contract costs us each year is important to know and is missing from this discussion. This is obviously an issue that's important to people. We aren't here because this is fun. This is your accountability check. I was going to ask you to force a vote tonight, but since 3 council members are missing, which is convenient, I encourage you to table this. I also encourage you to cancel the entire Flock contract. Whoever does would be supported in that endeavor. It is what your constituents want. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Paul Przybolinsky, 1716 Washington Street. I do want to say that I agree with a lot of the stuff that was said tonight, and I disagree with some. But one point I want to make to the council, after serving on the council for 24, I think, years, is that there has been a lot of negative things said about the use of the information. So in all due conscience, I believe that there should be another ordinance at the same time introduced with this one, not a policy, an ordinance talking about misuse, and I mean some hard penalties, because they already nationwide, they're already talking about, I watched that same video about, misuse, 7 days retention, all of that. But the misuse is, I feel that, and this is how I'm going to say it, as the chief said, there are bad apples that somebody could get framed by the use of this information. Oh yeah, I'm seriously thinking about that, because I believe that they could put information together to say you were here at this time, at this time, at this time. It's you really have to think about what could be done with the information, and I think that you should have another ordinance with this to show the public the use, or I had a gentleman today at work show me the Flock system in Michigan City. And I did not realize that that's what I was voting on, all these cameras. I think it's unnecessary, and I think that they should be, and we were told they were going to be moved around, with crime things. But if they need them down at the park, use what you have. And I don't believe that we need a drone to pay all that money. We are paying on the flock system. You don't need to expand it. Move the cameras. If you want them in Washington Park, put them down there. But I will agree that with some things that were said, that we are at a lull on crime. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this subject?
Hello, John Carrington, 140 Esther Street. I guess my concern maybe is just kind of garden variety, but I was wondering why the urgency to get this under the rainy day fund. I don't know the details of the ordinance. I don't know if a $300,000 appropriation that presumably will renew every year is really appropriate for the rainy day fund. But I don't know. I haven't looked up the ordinance, so I don't know that. So I was just wondering what the rush was. I also noticed that they took off several cameras from the proposed $300,000 outlay, but the actual dollar amount didn't change. So I thought that was kind of curious as well. Perhaps it was a scrivener's error or something like we've had before with other things. I don't know. It just could be an error. Also, I know a little bit about digital technology, and if this drone, for example, was flying to respond to a call at the beach, depending on the technology and the cameras on board, it could scan the identities of everybody on the beach while it's doing that. It could look at their cell phones. It could look at tattoos on their arms or something. These are really smart devices that I think we're kind of deceiving ourselves when we call them cameras. They're much more than cameras. And so, this is a brave new world we live in now. People want the advantages we can get from increased monitoring, but at the same time, there's legitimate and serious privacy concerns. People say, well, I'm not breaking the law, so I don't have any reason to object to this. Well, I'm not breaking the law either, but you know what? I still close my curtains on my house at night and I lock my car. It doesn't mean I'm breaking any laws. It's just privacy. It's a right that's enshrined in the Constitution for me. People say, oh, but your cell phone monitors you wherever you go. And I'm like, well, actually it doesn't. I can turn off my location. I can turn off location history. I can leave my phone at home. I can power it off. These cameras, and there's one on my property, but it's not a monitor. It's not a camera. It's a shot spotter. But it appeared on the easement behind my house one day. I didn't know what it was. They spray painted flock in the alley. That's all I knew about it. So I don't know. I know they haven't used the technology to solve the high school graduation killing yet. So when we're talking about all the great things that Flock does, well, it's also not doing things, and I don't think we should deceive ourselves. I've got a few other things, but I think that's pretty much it. The ACLU is getting involved in this now. The government in Indianapolis is getting involved. They want to further define Flock and what it can do, and this is a really big issue now. So I don't have an answer for it. I think, if anything, I would just like to again say these are not cameras. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on the subject? Steve, online?
Yep, I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Can you speak a little louder, please?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be quick because I don't like to do this virtually. Sorry, Steven, 5410. Rogowski, I know you like to see me in person. But I agree with everybody. The other things that I want to bring up is
Steve,
you guys need to look.
Steve, if you would, your full name and address, please.
I did. I guess you didn't hear me. Stephen Kornacki, 5410 Rogowski Ave. Did you hear it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Sorry if I'm loud. I'm yelling. I guess a couple things that I just want to mention. I agree with virtually everything that everybody said. One, this is an inappropriate expense. If this was an item needed, then this should have been done at expense time, not now. I hear all the time, well, SEA 1 decreased our budget. SEA 1 decreased our budget, but we have 300,000 for Flock when we already have a contract with them. I would ask if you guys would look up the difference between an ALPR and an LPR. An LPR would require an operator. The ALPR, we just have to drive by it and it takes a picture. So we're going to take a picture of every single person that drives through, either somebody that lives here or doesn't, just to detect trying to do like the 1% or 2% of the criminals. My other question is this creating more criminals, or are we just getting people that have already committed the crimes prior? I know Ms. Tillman brought up last time, you guys are kind of under the pressure of the LaPorte County prosecutor to get this approved. Oh, my question is for the LaPorte County prosecutor, why are people not held to the highest extent of the law? It seems that when people are committing gun crimes, that they get the minimal amount of sentence and then they come back out and they do the same thing again, and then it causes us to spin in circles. There's no trailer that's needed. Just get an LPR and have the cop sit where you guys are needing to do that special event stuff. My other question, and I know you guys are not going to answer these, but these are questions that I hope you guys, it gets the wheel spinning in your head that you guys ask the questions to the chief. Why are these policies, it's been a month. Why hasn't these policies been created and then brought to the council like, look, this is what we've done. So this is what we want, because I'm sorry, I see AI presentations all the time. That presentation that was made, that was a simple prompt to either Claude, ChatGPT, Google, whatever, made that PowerPoint for you, look nice, but this is such a half-baked idea. I can't believe this is still on the table. And some people that are sponsors voted this down last ordinance. It's just nuts that this is still here. So the other thing is Flock is a private business, and it's not like it's a government thing. Yep.
Yeah, not to interrupt, but your 3 minutes are up.
I lost a couple seconds, but okay. Have a good one.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this subject?
Hi, I'm John Riska from 120 DeWolf, Michigan City here, and I'm also a small business owner here in Michigan City, and I'm actually against this system. And I like to bring in information for you guys to look at as well, not for me to just come and yell at you about all these different stats and things, but I've brought handouts with a page, or actually 2.5 pages worth of concerns that have been documented by different research organizations and news agencies about Flock camera systems, all the way from the ACLU and the FBI. All of those links are here for you, so if you'd each like a copy, that's there. But I'd like to say that just a week ago, this region saw the largest power outage in NIPSCO's history. Trees were down, families were out of power for over a week, and helping people with things like tree removal and food assistance after a storm is exactly what a rainy day fund is for. That fund is unusually full right now because of a recent windfall and not new tax revenues. We're being asked to take $300,000 to start funding something that is not a one-time expense, but instead an ongoing subscription. We won't own these cameras. And under Flock's own contract language, our police can access that footage for 30 to 7 days maybe, but their same contract lets Flock hold on to the data permanently, even if we cancel our subscription. And there's links. This system isn't just a license plate camera reader anymore. It includes pan, tilt, zoom cameras and drones dispatched before officers arrive. And privacy researchers and the ACU have raised real concerns nationally about these drones capturing footage through homes' windows and backyards from innocent people who have no idea they're being watched. And while Flock says it doesn't use facial recognition, but instead AI, its own cameras are built to zoom in on faces and phones while we're sitting there. And reporters have repeatedly caught that the company's claims about its own technologies have oftentimes been falsified. Here in Michigan City, I've been genuinely impressed by how much our police do community outreach. That work has built real trust here in our community. A blanket surveillance system risks undermining that goodwill, replacing relationships built on trust with a network of cameras that constantly watch everyone, whether they're guilty or not. We're creating a new ongoing expense, and I'd rather hire a human officer, someone who can be trusted, who can be accountable to the public, and uses human judgment, rather than a surveillance system that holds our data in a large company on all of our systems without any accountability for that company by the government in any way. We're doing this on the same year that the FBI has just reported the largest drop in crime in nearly 90 years, and we are safer right now than almost any other point in our country's history. Please don't spend our money on a rainy day from the rainy day fund to start a long-term subscription for products that we won't own, that will enrich a company that doesn't come from here and doesn't care about our community.
John?
If you feel that you must spend this money,
Okay.
please hire a human.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Mhm.
Hi, Michigan City and City Council members. I'm going to read something. Tiffany Taylor, City Kids New Wave, 701 East 11th Street. I'm going to read you something that was actually posted today at 8:15 this morning. Help from the public is sought in trying to identify the driver of a vehicle who fled after striking a serious injured pedestrian in Michigan City. According to the police, a black pickup truck fled after striking a pedestrian at 8 p.m. Friday in the parking lot of Ramada Inn at 5820 Franklin Street. Police said the victim was taken to Franciscan Hospital with life-threatening injuries and was later transported by helicopter to Regional Hospital for more than advanced care. The name and the age of the victim has not been disclosed. Police said no further details will be released due to the ongoing investigation. Right there, folks. We have how many cameras in our community? And yet we have this one pedestrian that is in critical care right now. So why are we spending the money, like that gentleman just said, which is our rainy day fund, which is deliberately and meant for emergency purposes, which, as we all just experienced, that storm that we just were impacted with, that is what that money is intended for, not for flock surveillance camera systems. Thank you, Michigan City. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to speak?
Hi, Melissa Martinez, 216 West Barker. I just want to say that a camera popped up in front of my house. I don't know exactly what kind it is, but it doesn't make me feel safe at all. In fact, it makes me feel every day like my privacy is invaded and I have to close my curtains, even though I want to let the sun in because it's right in front of my window. No, I was surprised when I seen that and how you guys could there's a bar right there. Put it in front of the bar. Why is it looking right in my window? I don't know if it's looking exactly, like I said, I don't know exactly what kind of camera it is, but it's when I'm sitting in my window and I look out, that's looking right back at me. So that's all I wanted to say. I'm very disappointed that you guys are invading my privacy like that.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else wish to speak on this subject? Anyone else wish to speak on the subject? Anyone else wish to speak on the subject? Public comment is now closed. Any council comments? Any council comments? Any council comments? No, having none, this ordinance will be held over for a second reading at our next council meeting. Madam Clerk, next ordinance on second reading. Yeah.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, approving additional appropriation on the budget of the tree violation fund for the purchase of material for restoration of city parkways, AKA city tree lawns. And this is introduced by Ms. Molnar.
And would the author like to make any comments? Councilwoman Moldenauer?
Yeah, just very briefly for people who may not have been here at our last meeting. This money is coming out of the tree violations fund. This is money that's been collected from individuals and businesses that cut down trees without having them assessed or evaluated before they did it. The request for this is when trees were cut down in the easements in Michigan City, there was no way to be able to put down seed, straw to replace that grass that was destroyed through the process of cutting the trees down. So Phil Graff, our forester, was here last time and explained that they had talked to the U.S. Forest Service that had originally given us the $1 million grant to cut down trees and to replant those mostly with native species. And they did not recommend using the money for this and that it might jeopardize our, future abilities to get funds. So $30,000 is what was it was bidded, okay. $30,000 came back is how much it's going to be to actually take care of the upheavaled yards and everything else through this process. So I'm asking the City Council to look favorably upon this request for those funds. The other thing is that Tree Violation Fund will actually help us use it as matching funds in writing future grants for tree replacement in our city. And that was something I failed to mention last time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And this was also advertised in the Herald Dispatch on August the 6th. And tonight we will have a formal public hearing on this ordinance. And is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wishes to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wishes to speak on this ordinance? Having none, is there any further council comments? Go ahead, sir.
Sal Dunlap, 729 East Michigan Boulevard. I'm looking forward to this coming through. My block is suffering from the trees that were planted a few years ago have basically all died. So I'm looking forward to the city coming through and complimenting my block.
Thank you. Public comment is now closed. Is there any further council comments? Having none, this ordinance will be held over till our next meeting. Madam Clerk, our next ordinance on second reading, please, by title only.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, an ordinance vacating a portion of a public road, Lake Hills Road in the city of Michigan City, located between Lauren Road to the west and the Beach Walk development to the east. And then this is introduced by Mr. Preselinski and Mr. Coulter.
And does Mr. Alter or Councilman Coulter have anything you'd like to say? Okay. And just to let everyone know that this was advertised in the Herald Dispatch on August 6, 2026. Formal public hearing will be held tonight, August the 18th, 2026. And Attorney McDonald is here representing his client and asking for the vacating of the public roadway.
Good evening, council members.
Pardon?
My name for the record is Barry McDonald. I'm an attorney in Michigan City at 601 Franklin Street. Here again before you on behalf of my client, Ed Rasma, regarding our petition to vacate a small portion, really a dead end of the undeveloped Lake Hills Road, which is immediately east of Lauren Road in the Lake Hills second subdivision. Mr. Rasma is behind me here again, patiently waiting tonight in case you have any questions for him or anybody from the public does. Want to thank the council. Thank your council thank the city attorney, the sponsors, and the clerk's office for assisting us in getting to this point. The handout really simply was just to kind of give the council members a visual. It's a beacon aerial photo as well as a picture of an old historic plat of Michigan City. Just kind of shows you where this vacant, undeveloped road is in relation to the broader neighborhood in Michigan City. While the land, if anybody has driven by, is essentially undeveloped, it's kind of scrappy, wooded, overgrown, dead end. Certainly currently of no value to the neighborhood or really to Michigan City. It, on the other hand, would have a lot of value to my client and his neighbor to the north who would share in the vacated property. He wants to further expand and improve his home on Loran Drive, or Loran Road rather, and put this property back into productive use on the tax rolls. His interest specifically is not actually to build any structures on the vacated property. And this will be a little bit important in my next comment, but he's going to use the vacated portion to basically expand his footprint and give him more setback relief and give him lot coverage relief, which those of you who are Board of Zoning Appeals fans will appreciate that those issues come up as impediments to develop your property, particularly in the north end of Michigan City. And so even though he won't be putting anything in this vacated parcel, gives him better setbacks, better lot coverage, and then he can improve his property on his existing lot and expand it. Why is that important? It's important because even though we now have received, or you've received, the reports from department heads, none of the departments are opposed to the vacation. But Chris Johnson, the superintendent of the water department, has identified a water main in this undeveloped, hoping to be vacated portion of Lake Hills Road. He has no opposition to the vacation, but obviously he will want an easement there to protect the water main, which we have no problem granting. He's indicated he would need a 10-foot buffer on either side of the existing main, which is going to fall entirely onto this parcel, obviously. And again, my earlier comment, which is we're not going to have anything that would be anywhere near that because, again, my client has no intention to develop into the vacated parcel. The vacated parcel just gives him more land upon which to expand his footprint and expand his setbacks. So there'll be no conflict with the water department's ability to maintain and utilize its water main. The criteria that you need to consider, I'll just read them into the record because it's the public hearing, but there are 4 statutory criteria that the council has to consider when evaluating whether to grant a vacation request. First one is that the vacation would not hinder the growth or orderly development of Michigan City or the neighborhood in which it is located or adjacent to. Obviously, this neighborhood is developing quite well without this little stub of property that's never been developed. Good example of that, obviously, is the new homes that are going up along Washington Park Boulevard right around the corner from this property. Second criterion is the subject vacation will not make access to the lands of any property owners within Michigan City by means of public way difficult or inconvenient. Again, given what this map shows, this doesn't make vacating this would make nothing more inconvenient because it serves no purpose. It goes nowhere. It dead ends into Beach Walk, which dead ends into a significant fence line, and then the private road system of Beach Walk. Third, that the subject vacation will not hinder the public's access to a church, school, or other public building. I think the only thing that would exist in that neck of the woods would probably be Lake Hills School, and I can't fathom that you would ever use this little stub to get to Lake Hills School, so I think we're okay there. And then lastly, that the subject vacation would not hinder the use of a public way by a neighborhood in which it is located or which it is contiguous. And obviously, other than this stub connecting to the existing portion of Loran Road and Lake Hills Road, it's not going to affect access or any public way. The public ways that are there and being used in the Lake Hills subdivision will continue to be used. So for those reasons, we'd like you to consider favorably when we get to third reading this vacation request. And again, if any of the council members have any specific questions, my client and I will do our best to answer them. Thank you very much again.
At this time, I will open it up to the public. We're having a public hearing this evening. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance?
Hello, Scott Melland, 200 Kenwood Place. I certainly hope you support this. I had the privilege just now of speaking with City Engineer Werner, who sketched out the whole thing to me. I've seen a map before. It makes perfect sense. This is a dead end spur. It goes nowhere. It serves no purpose for the city. In fact, we can raise a little revenue, hopefully, because Attorney McDonald did say it is of great value to his client. Sorry. But you take a burden off the city of maintenance. So I certainly hope you approve this for him so he can go forward with his plans. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions from the public on this ordinance? Any other comments from the public on this ordinance? Having none, public comments is closed. Any other comments from the council? Having none, this ordinance will be held over for third reading at our next meeting. And Madam Clerk, our one and only ordinance on third reading by title only, please.
An ordinance on third reading by title only, amending the schedule of rates and charges collected by the city of Michigan City, Indiana from the owners of property served by Michigan City Sanitary District and other matters connected therewith. And this is introduced by Mr. Preselinski, Mr. Dabney, and Mr. Fulton.
And do the authors have anything that they would like to add at this time? No? Very well. Ms. Fichet?
Good evening. Good to see you again. Glad to be back for third and final on this very important piece of legislation here for the city. Means a lot for everybody. Councilman Preselinski, at your request, we did have the last presentation. We just updated it with the date put up in case anybody wanted to review anything. I have talked ad nauseum for months at many meetings about this, but I am here happy to answer any questions. I'll simply say this, if you'll advance one slide for me, Drew. We've been at this actually as a team for about 18 months, doing a lot of work in our capital improvement plan, trying to get it right. We've been in front of the Michigan City Sanitary District Board. Don knows he's our representative. We've had 3 workshops, 2 public hearings, multiple meetings. And so it's been a great experience. We're learning a lot as we go along. We have had a lot of great comments, a lot of good discourse. I'm sure there'll be more as we go forward, and we'll be here to answer those. So with that said, I believe we have answered all substantive comments. I do believe we have more work to do. We're looking forward to moving forward and answering any questions you have tonight. So with that, I will try to be quiet tonight and simply answer questions.
Any questions from the council members? No? Okay. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll be here.
Okay. Are there any comments from the public? This is public comment time. Any comments from the public?
Paul Preselinski, 1716 Washington Street. I am here in protest to this increase, and that I have made my case several times about finding money inside the budget to fund their mechanism so there's not an increase. It was said at the last meeting that the bills will increase for the city residents upward and probably over $90. The water department has applied for a $54 million bond issue that the users of the utility will have to pay. The sanitary district has said that they are going to go and they want to do a $50 million project. What do you think that's going to do to the citizens of Michigan City? You have a 20% poverty rate, and that money in the Riverboat Fund should be used. This is a good use of funding to fund that money and then to dedicate money from the riverboat and the redevelopment commission to do what they need to be done at the sanitary district to offset the cost. We keep getting compared to cities to the west of us. I want to remind you, their water costs are higher than ours because they are supplied by American Water, which is now a American invested corporation. The utilities were not created to make money. They were created to provide a cost-effective service. They keep using the phraseology, kicking the can down the road. I disagree with that. There's been people at the sanitary district, one individual that's back there now that was there for 11 years. So never came for any kind of increase, but keeps putting in front of you to do this project and that project. They have not given you a absolute plan. We're going to do this first. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. They have not done that. They have not examined the rates on that they charge. And I brought that up at the last meeting. I'm telling you right now, you guys you have a responsibility to examine them rates with other communities, what they're charging us, and you need to do something about it. You need to use that riverboat money and not create a fund for certain individuals,
Thank you,
but
Mr.
for
President.
everyone in the city.
Thank you,
You
sir.
need to table this.
Council, Scott Melland, 200 Kenwood Place. I followed this through. I think it's necessary. I'm simply pointing out to the people, the public who may not know, both our water department and our sanitary department are fully self-supported through the rates they charge. There's no general fund tax revenue that goes to either of those departments. I have seen the rate analysis. I have seen the phased plan to address the problems with the sanitary plant. I'm not quite sure of some of the complaints I've heard tonight. I see this as a very well thought out plan that is beyond necessary. So again, I want people to understand that the sanitary department is funded solely through the rates it charges and these new development fees that are part of this that very much need to be passed. So I don't like my bill going up any more than anybody else, but I think we need to do this if we want to maintain our system. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this subject?
Steve Coyle, live in Long Beach, own property over 1612 Maple Street. First of all, we obviously need this. So I support what needs to be done. What I don't support is this. I'll be very simple. There is monies available for things like flock camera enhancements, $300,000, but there's not $300,000 in the rainy day fund for this project. There's a flock system that costs $200,000+ a year every year. And you find that to be more important than this project. So the issue is priorities and how to spend the money. My money, these people's money, your money. And you seem to be making it easier for us to look at you and say, you're not with us. You're actually against us. Because it's easier to charge me $8.70 a month, every month, to pay for this project. That was simpler than getting $300,000 out of the rainy day fund. That's simpler than canceling a flock camera nobody wants. I don't understand it. Next year, that data center is going to be done. You're going to get an OCC and you're going to give $1 million to the Economic Development Corporation. That is the last organization that needs $1 million. The council should go back, rewrite that agreement and give this project $1 million and lower the burden each month on all of us taxpayers, okay? 60% increase from NIPSCO, 9 to 11% from NIPSCO each and every year from now to 2033. Inflation is up, grocery prices are up, healthcare is up. Now our water bills are going to go up. You're just not listening. And I think you're going to see, for whatever reason, the schism between the mayor, this council, and the police department is only growing greater and greater. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public who wishes to speak on this subject? Anyone else from the public wish to speak on the subject? Anyone else from the public wish to speak on the subject? Having none, public comment is now closed. Any further comments from the council on this ordinance? Councilwoman Mullenhour?
Yeah, I just want to make a very brief summary. I only heard from one person that was against this, and everybody else was for it. And I think that the facts speak for themselves. It's been 14 years without an increase in this department for its services. Our rate is less than all municipalities around us, and it's lower than the state average. And the department is running a $700,000 deficit because we haven't kept up with the rate of inflation or the true cost of providing this service. And let's face it, this is a health and safety issue. We can't allow contaminated water to flow into Trail Creek and into Lake Michigan. This is about our health, our well-being, and our quality of life. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Dabney?
Hearing no other comments from the council, I'll make a motion to, did you want to make a comment?
I was going to support it.
Okay, motion to approve.
Support.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second, but I would like to say a comment. And I'm the liaison to the sanitary district. I've sat in a lot of meetings. I've looked at a lot of charts and all the information, whether you agree with me or not, the information I've seen, the rate increase is warranted. I will pay the same rate increase as everyone else that is here from Michigan City. Do I want to pay more money every month? No, I'd rather not. But I know that we live in a city, and if you want things to run right and you're a citizen, you have to pay taxes, and that's part of being a citizen of a community. And I know that we have different viewpoints on where the money should come out of, but we could take it from here and drain that, or we just keep, have a rate increase and keep things going in that direction and save the money that's in a riverboat or save the money that's in a rainy day fund, and we pay for it as we go along. The repairs are, in my estimation, major that need to be done at the sanitary district. If we don't do what repairs need to be done, then the state of Indiana, the way I understand it, will come in and tell us what we need to do. And then at that time, we won't have any planning. We'll have to get the money. We'll have to make those repairs. And people look at, I'm sure, at the district and say, well, what cost-cutting measures have you made so we won't have to pay this rate increase? Well, the district has reduced their overtime by $500,000 from where it was when this administration took over. So there's a dramatic cost savings there. They are in a $700,000 cash flow deficit from the sewer operation. And based on current financial status, the district is not in a healthy enough position to be able to issue bonds in order to do major infrastructure work like the Lafayette Barker sewer project that we're all trying to get done for that part of town. It just makes, to me, financial smartness to do this. And I was talking to a businessman over the weekend, very prominent businessman in Michigan City. And I don't know, he started asking me how's things going on the council, and we started talking back and forth, started talking about the rate increase. And I said, well, let me ask you a question. What brings businesses to a community? And he says, you need to have top shelf infrastructure systems in place that'll draw a business into town. And that's the way I'm looking at this. I feel like I'm doing it. I'm not trying to penalize anybody, but I'm trying to make advancements and improvements for the future of Michigan City. So with that being said, are there any other comments that any other council members would like to make? Councilman Cora?
Yeah, Mr. President, when I first saw the proposal, I felt why we have recently had a water increase, we have had a wheel tax, and one more thing to add on to. But when I looked at the whole plan and I saw what are the consequences of not doing this, like the state coming and taking over if we don't have enough money to run it ourselves, or not improving the infrastructure. Some of the infrastructure, I was told, was almost 100 years old. And if we cannot keep up with that infrastructure, we as a community are going to suffer the health consequences of that also. So it's a difficult choice to make, but it has to be made for the future. That way we have good infrastructure for the people who live here and for the businesses to come here. So that's the reason why I'm going to be supporting this. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, with that being said, there's been a motion and a second on the ordinance.
Yes, it was. I made a motion.
He
and
made,
Craig
he,
seconded.
made, he made the motion and Councilman Coulter seconded it. And with that being said, Madam Clerk, on the vote?
And Greg was second.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Miss Lee. Aye. Miss Moldenauer.
Aye.
Mr. Preselinski.
Aye.
Mr. Coulter.
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
And Dr. Cora.
Aye.
We have 6 in favor and no one opposed.
Moving on to new business. Madam Clerk?
Mayor Angie is requesting the advice and consent of the Michigan City Common Council regarding her appointments to the Michigan City Human Rights Commission with Robert L. Moulton of the third term beginning immediately and expiring February 2nd, 2030, and Jacqueline Jones term beginning immediately and expiring on November 2028.
Okay, and I just a question for the attorney. Can we just appoint these people and then vote on it? Do we have to nominate these two people for this position?
You do not.
Okay, so it's just a FYI from the mayor requesting, and she's going to appoint them.
That's correct.
Okay, all right. Unfinished business. Nominations. The council has one appointment to the Veterans Commission.
I just say all of you.
Right. Look, if we can go back, Mr. President.
Sure.
So while there isn't the nomination process necessary, you do still need to take a vote on the advice and consent that's being sought by the mayor.
Okay. All right. Madam Clerk, on the vote for the advice and consent on the mayor.
You don't necessarily need a roll call vote for this. You can call all in favor.
All in favor of these two individuals being appointed to the Human Rights Commission?
Aye.
By saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, thank you. Unfinished business. The council has one appointment to the Veterans Commission due to Keith Devereaux's resignation on July 30th, 2026, and the term will begin immediately and expire on 12/31/26. There has been one application received from Blake Schober. Are there any other nominations for this position?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
if one council member were to nominate the person that applied for the position, then we can go forward with an all in favor
Okay,
type of vote.
but do I still take, is there anyone else that they would like to nominate?
If they didn't submit any applications timely, they wouldn't be eligible for nomination.
All right, is there any council member that would like to nominate Blake Schober?
I nominate Blake Schober.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Mr. Blake Schober has been now put on the Veterans Commission. Congratulations. Comments from the public. And comments from the public will be for 3 minutes, please. Name and address for the record.
Ernie Hollahan, 302 Gladys Street. I received these in the mail. I don't know if anybody else has, but these gentlemen are going to be here in this chambers Saturday, September 26th from 1 to 2:30. It would be interesting if you have anything to propose to these gentlemen. It's a town hall meeting, so it's open to the whole town. And I plan on attending. I have things with issues that I have against some of the stuff, and also the Hoosiers can't afford to wait. Local utility bills are up 91.7% in the last 10 years. Indiana's foreclosure rate is highest in the country. New legislation kicked 174,000 kids off of Medicaid. That is terrible. And data centers receive $650 million in tax breaks. Not counting what you people have given them. My God, no wonder they're building so many. It's sad that they're taking all that money. Thank you.
Sal Dunlap, 729 East Michigan Boulevard. Let it be known that if the water rates go up, whatever that increase is, I'm paying Ms. Nylips, our city clerk. We just experienced something here that really showed us how vulnerable we are in terms of not being prepared for hazards. I do want to report, however, I saw our city council president going beyond the call of duty. A tree had fallen into Michigan Boulevard, took out one of the lanes. I saw this car parked there blocking with the flashes on, didn't know it was her. I pulled around in front thinking that this individual needs some help pulling that limb off. Turned out it was the city council president, and I thought we should all know that. The other is that in my last presentations, I didn't get a chance to recognize the state of the city presentation given by the mayor. I thought it was bomb. I really, really enjoyed it. We're talking about 250 years of celebrating this country. I'm going to use the rest of my time. You cut me off when I run into my 3 minutes. But this represents how I feel about this 250-year celebration.
People help build America. Baby, baby, something. People played a major role in history.
Feel it. Join me.
By storm. They can build the wealth of a nation. That's historical documentation. Field under the blazing sun. America's economy rising while our ancestors couldn't run.
Yeah. Yes.
We done that?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Dunlap, if I could comment, maybe we should end every council meeting like that on a high note, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
Yeah. Tommy Kolavic, 1316 Ohio. So I got some good news and I got some bad news. We're down to only 288 customers in Michigan City without power right now. Thank you, line crews. Just want to announce that today was the first day of school. It was little Nyari Simmons' first day of kindergarten at the prestigious Edgewood Elementary School, and I got to mention they get jealous. And it's her older sister Amira's first day of sixth grade at Edgewood, so it's going to be the only year that they're going to be in the same building together. I think Nyari's going to get shuffled to another school and see it's the third grade with all this school configuration going on. I want to say Friday night's always exciting. It's the first night of high school football. I know Michigan City's supposed to travel to Cedar Lake, play Hanover Central. They'll probably not coming around. I don't know if they got power over there. It's going to be the first game for our new head football coach, Charles Salary. This is going to be the first game for the first black head football coach in the history of all the Michigan City area schools. I want to mention there was yesterday at the Board of Works meeting, there was a group of independent filmmakers. They're going to be making a documentary about Lynn Isbell and the Michigan City Soul Steppers. I think that's gonna be a blockbuster. I mean, Lynn's gonna be a movie star. We all know about the Soul Steppers. Finally, some bad news. I want to respond to Clarence Holt's report earlier. I know he likes to talk about all the businesses that are coming and are closing. I compiled a list of 15 businesses here in Michigan City that have closed just in 2026. We're only got 4.5 months left of 2026. Going to start them. They're either going to close or they've announced they're going to close. Number one is Harbor Country Adventures. That's the Media 2 boat rides and the Live at the Lakefront concerts. Mr. Terry is selling the boat. Uptown Social, right there at 9th and Franklin. They closed on January 1st. They want $2.5 million for it. Vita del Lago, Uptown Arts District, they closed. Sadly, the DAV Post 23 canteen on Ohio Street, they've lost their liquor license, the whole national chain. The Citgo gas station, Cleveland and Paz. Captain Ed's, happy retirement, Captain Ed. The Sugar Bowl restaurant, apparently the owner passed away. The Checks for Cash pawn shop on Highway 20, they're going to close at the end of the month. Victor Lane Car Wash, we closed with one, 2 more are going to open up. Doolin Home Pro Hardware in Carlick Plaza. Roma Pizza, apparently there's going to be a Hungry Howie's going in there. The Eddie Bauer store at Lighthouse Mall, they closed. The Alan Cernick Law Office, I think Mr. Cernick retired. Sola, they went out of business. It was just a week ago, the Waterford Inn on Johnson Road, they're closing down. They just announced they're going to close. I know the alcohol permit for the Lindo's, their escrow, 5-year escrow period is going to expire on February 11th. They need to either sell their permit or put it to use, or else they're going to lose that. It's pretty much it for me. Kind of a give and take on the businesses that are closing. I think that's a lot of businesses have closed in just a short period of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy.
Nancy Cross, 501 Pearl Street.
I guess I got good and bad news too. I sent some emails out. I don't know if you got them. I had a mattress in the alley and the trucks could roll over it, but cars couldn't because you're going to puncture your tires with the springs. And I called Trash Talk. I called the code office. Everybody says they can't do anything about it. It has to go to the curb. I understand that. But when it went to the curb, it sat 6 weeks. And I wanted to know why. Why did it have to? It sat through the storm. It just got picked up today. It sat through water, and the water comes to my corner. And that's fine. I'm good. I'm cleaning out that all the time, that drain. But the problem is, the water stopped at that point. It's in the street. Then my neighbor across the street, he's a landlord. He decides to drop some furniture in front of my house on his side of the street. Well, I stopped him. I aggressively went across and explained to him he wasn't going to do it. By gosh, he dragged it to the alley. And then another set of mattresses came. You guys decided, and I looked this up, Ordinance 4751, Section 50-510, Part B, under 3 tons, $25 mobilization fee. We're supposed to charge these people to come out and pick it up. It was supposed to go into effect January 1st, 2025. And every time I call someone, they have no permission to do this. They say, well, you got to talk to someone else. And I do. I've even sat down at the code office and talked to him about a few things. And it's just, we need to start charging. Now, I'm a retired semi-truck driver. I used to haul mattresses. I've hauled boxes. I used to haul to Better World in Chicago. So we need clearance maybe to look into bringing one of those organizations here. It's a recycling company for mattresses. They got another one in California called Bye Bye Mattress. Some states, you are not allowed to throw mattresses away. Just think of the size of those mattresses in the landfills. Okay. When I went to deliver boxes and other things to this company in Chicago, I just took a tour because they let me, and they were ripping off the tops of them, recycling that part. The metal went into another bin. They had the wood parts in another section. Everything was recycled. I really need, I need us to look into this. And not only that, I need you to start charging people because money talks. And I hate to do that because we're already at our limits just about paying bills. And I'm retired. So, I have bills too, but I learned to cut back. And usually when I buy a mattress or a piece of furniture, I only buy it to people that will take the old one out. And they may charge me $50. I'm going to pay it because to me, it's worth it than having it sit in front of my house for 6 weeks. So that's all I needed to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. But if I could, I'd like to respond to what you said about that mattress at 501. Yeah, Pearl. Because Tremont.
No, Pearl, that's my address. It was in the alley behind the houses.
Okay, yeah.
It's still there. It's still there.
Well, I'll write it down. But when I see things, I text them to Chris Carter,
right,
the refuse director. And I keep a record of it. So, yeah, I had 501 Tremont. He had 3 mattresses, and they're still sitting there.
That Maple and Tremont, they were just put out there recently because I went down that way and I thought, gee, and that's what starts it. It's contagious. You get one throwing it out, and then when my neighbor argued with me, and it didn't even actually come from that house, it came from someone else's house that was bringing it over, and he argued with me, and he came over and apologized to me yesterday because I try to keep my yard up and I try to keep the neighborhood up, but mattresses to me are scary anyway. I don't like mattresses being out in the public like that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Amy Lisinski, 104.
Wait a minute, ma'am. Wait a minute. We have somebody online. Okay. William Wrights, go ahead. William?
Hi there. This is Dakota Euler of 718 Emma Street. Good evening, Council. I wanted to speak to you this evening and ask that our elected officials hold NIPSCO accountable for maintaining its power line infrastructure throughout our neighborhoods. The recent storms that knocked out power for so many residents are a reminder of just how important reliable electric service is. As an elected precinct person, I personally work to advocate for my neighborhood and make sure the concerns are addressed. In doing so, I had a NIPSCO contractor on site with me reviewing my residents, and I was told that vegetation maintenance is generally performed on approximately a 6-year cycle. NIPSCO's own reported vegetation management goal is a 4 to 6 year cycle. Indiana law is clear about the responsibility of public utilities. Indiana Code 8-1-2-4 requires every public utility to furnish reasonably adequate service and facilities. The Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission has also specified that safety, reliability, and efficiency are essential components of reasonably adequate electric service, and that vegetation management is directly connected to providing that service. Indiana's vegetation management rules define vegetation management as cutting, removing, preventing vegetation growth for purposes including maintaining safe conditions around utility facilities, ensuring reliable electrical service, and preventing hazards caused by vegetation encroaching on utility facilities. This is why I believe this deserves the attention of our city council. I understand that Michigan City is experiencing significant growth and major infrastructure projects, including the Double Track project and data center development. These investments are important to our community and our future. But I worry that the general maintenance of the infrastructure we already depend on may become a second thought, while so much attention is focused on new development. As a resident and a precinct person, I have worked to get a specific issue addressed at my own property, and I appreciate that NIPSCO responded to my individual concern. But cutting back vegetation at one residence does not address the larger issue in our city, when trees and greenery continue to grow into power lines and throughout the surrounding area. Our residents deserve proactive maintenance, not maintenance that only happens after a resident makes a complaint or after a major storm exposes the problem. I'm asking our elected officials to work with NIPSCO and hold the bar high on routine vegetation management and power line maintenance throughout our neighborhoods. The residents most vulnerable to outages deserve the best service we can provide. Seniors, families, and residents who depend on electricity for heating, cooling, and medical equipment should not have to wonder whether the infrastructure serving their home is being adequately maintained. Michigan City is growing, and we should welcome that growth, but we cannot overlook the neighborhoods and the residents who are already here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dakota. 3 minutes is up. Thank you, sir.
Am I good? All right, Amy Lisinski, 104 Mayfield Drive. I just want to say, and a council member stated this, and they must have considered some of this, so I thank you for acknowledging this. But as we keep talking about different ordinances that come before you, the common phrase is it's just a small amount. I believe one time somebody's like, oh, it could be just one stop less to Starbucks and stuff, as you guys slowly keep bringing different things forward that passes, raises, or increases onto us. This year, I know we've had the wheel tax. I've seen it's also coming before the county. I don't know if that will also add an additional wheel tax to us. We've seen the sanitation here. We've been told over and over that, like with the SB1 and stuff, our local taxes are going to go up. And don't forget that we have the referendum coming forward as a vote that will also raise our taxes. These things all come before you as single items, and you guys say it's just a small amount, it's a small sacrifice you have to make. But then when you start to put these prices together, it starts to really add on at a time when we're all struggling. You said with inflation and everything. So the way you guys always come and bring these things forward and just say it's a small amount comes off very insensitive to those of us that have been following, because it's been a lot. And you've already also warned us a lot is still coming. And I guarantee you when the referendum gets closer, if they come and present again, we're going to hear again, it's just a small amount. The failure to me that I feel like that does fall, and you've heard, is we could have gotten this money from elsewhere if this was looked at, because we've seen when the data center was coming, the water department told us they were great and they didn't need anything. But then here we are and they're saying, well, we need all this for sanitation. The failure came that it should never have taken this long to get to this point, and whatever did that or why that happened should be looked at. But you had a chance for you guys as a council. Some of this does fall on you guys because you guys could have negotiated this into that resolution and got more than the 500,000 you got already from them. for sanitation and water, and this could have been looked at further for that. And that's where I want to say, from coming and attending these meetings, something from that resolution when you guys passed it to seeing like the smoking ordinance to seeing you guys tabled two things, I think, at the last meeting, things are different. You guys sit here and these things you guys will sit here, talk, negotiate, go fix and bring back. But when that resolution was before you for the data center, nobody was allowed, it seemed like, to touch it or renegotiate it or say, hey, let's fix this or change that. And it seems like your guys' hands were tied with that because none of you guys were willing to say, you guys filled a whole room in here, you tabled it, but you never made a single adjustment to that. But here you guys are listening for other things. And that really makes me wonder what was really going on behind the scenes with the data center to you guys.
John Carrington, 140 Esther Street. Just want to make a quick comment. I haven't been to a meeting since well before Memorial Day. I had a really bad fall, and as you can see, and so I just had heard we were going to be addressing the pavement and the lane stripes on Michigan Boulevard, and possibly a roundabout at Woodland and Cool Spring. But I drive up and down both of those streets quite a bit. I'm sure the flock cameras will attest to that. And I haven't seen anything happen, and it's kind of becoming an obstacle course out there. So I just wanted to remind everybody about that. I don't know where it's at. But the other thing I wanted to say was Clarence is slacking a little bit. He talks a lot about proposed businesses and things like that. But this fall I had resulted in a really bad injury that they were going to have to use cadaver parts. They were going to send me to University of Chicago, and it was going to be this big thing. And what happened was, all of a sudden done, there's so many great existing businesses in this town, and one of them is we have really good medical care. And I had originally been with a doctor at Northwest Health, and he recommended Lakeshore Bone and Joint, and they got me all fixed up. And the doctor who operated on my mother in Skokie knows these people, and they just did a really phenomenal job. I had a really fast recovery. I've been driving and walking for about a month now, and I'm way ahead of schedule. So just wanted to give a shout out to all the great local businesses that also exist. And I was just joking about Clarence slacking. Of course, he that was just a joke. But we've got great restaurants, and we've got great services and great companies here in town. And I just tickled to death that I got such a great experience right here locally. So I just wanted to give them a shout out. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Michigan City and City Council members. Again, Tiffany Taylor, City Kids New Wave at 701 East 11th Street. It has been a while since my last speech informing everyone about City Kids New Wave. I last spoke back in April about the nonprofit organization in which the community members help over 214 children last year by receiving a bike. Since then, we have still continued our wave for the children due to the wonderful, strong love support that we have from everyone. On our Facebook page, you will see that our last post of our number of children receiving was 311. With that, the number has a special meaning to me with the community members of not only Michigan City, but now even the surrounding neighbor communities. It has now given more of a reason to smile. So thank you, everyone. You did that. Though the post was at the beginning of August, our number is still continuing. There's no break in these waves, maybe a slight pause, but no break. Our current number as I stand here is over 322 children who have received a bike since starting, which 108 just of this year so far. Keep in mind, there's still more to come. I'm completely beyond this galaxy thankful and truly for everyone, for this would not even be possible without the compassion and understanding for the children. A huge shout out thank you I feel needs to be shined on is the Blackhawks girls volleyball team of Westville High School, who literally are rock stars in our eyes for not only building 4 brand new bikes, but they also donated them to us as well for the children. The children are truly deeply appreciate all the love and support for them, for the impact does make a difference. By setting the example, we are creating wonderful waves here in Michigan City. Now with that, After the recent storm that have impacted our region last Tuesday, it has now brought me to the microphone a lot sooner. I seriously want to thank all the community members and business owners who have reached out, helping or offering help and even helping one another. Seeing those posts, I was dealing with difficulties and challenges in our household as well. I was truly touched and thankful for all the compassion and understanding that was showing throughout our community. That right there screams village, community and village, and I love it. City Kids New Wave is just another example of members lending a hand and helping. With my vehicle currently down at the moment, that put me to where I'm in a rough wave due to unable to help the children. A post was made asking for help due to 3 bikes were ready to go to 3 brothers who have been patiently waiting and unable to be delivered. Community members were commenting and messaging want to help. Again, I appreciate everyone. And Don, thank you again for returning my call. Deeply appreciate that. Bikes were picked up and delivered this morning by a wonderful soul. So thank you to Trina Gayhart Walesworth, half owner of Bike Stop of Michigan City, for transporting those bikes to those boys. Those boys were so excited to ride their bike when they got home from their first day of school. I know I can continue on, but 3 minutes does tick. Once more, thank you again, everyone, for your strong love and support for City Kids New Wave. You all are truly amazing souls for this wave. Thank you.
Paul Przybylski, 1716 Washington Street. I'm going to say to Doctor, I'm going to apologize now for what I'm going to say. I think this is a real shame what happened tonight, that you didn't have the full council here to vote on this so the public can see. But what I'm getting at is that I never said I was against this, is to find a different funding mechanism, and the money is there. But what really is a shame is that the 40-year tax abatement you gave to the data center is a true sham to the citizens of Michigan City. A true sham. And that is one other thing that you should be putting a moratorium on anything built in the city limits, because the 2019 annexation that couple you guys were involved with, that land was just sold to a multimillionaire. You know where they want to put something that you passed on the water department bond issue, a water tower out there? Just kind of coincidental. People have been giving me information, all right? You need to put a moratorium on any more data centers built in the city of Michigan City. That's a fact, because something's going on. And I'm going to say something else tonight. I don't know if you've been meeting with the mayor, like 2 people or 3 people, but if you have, that's a real shame. Okay? And I will tell you, I was at all the meetings for this rate increase, and you must have forgot that I asked Mr. Wallace about the Lafayette Sewer Project and what they wanted to do, and he said at the meeting, at the sanitary district, oh, this is conceptual. What kind of BS is that? And they didn't give you a plan of what they want to do in their bond issue, nothing. They never gave you the answer to the question that I asked you, Mr. Przybylski, on how the prison will affect the sanitary district, one of their biggest customers, or the water department. The whole bottom line is this. You're supposed to be working for us. Well, I sure as heck don't feel that you have been working. And I apologize, Doctor, but I got to say what I got to say. Okay? And I will tell you, everybody that I talk to in Michigan City is extremely opposed to this rate increase using the explanation that I use is using the money that we have so we get something out of the boat. Because we haven't got it, well, we have got benefits on funding machinery and things of that nature. But this would be a big win for the citizens, and to pass a resolution to tell the redevelopment commission to fund the projects. But it ain't over yet. Thank you.
Good evening, Steve Coyle. I live in Long Beach and own property at 1612 Maple. Krieger Junior High School sits approximately 7/10 of a mile as the crow flies from the Google data center. It is literally next door. Why would anyone build a data center this close to a school if children were truly the priority? Building one alone permits 70 diesel generators and over 376,000 gallons of on-site diesel storage. Building 2 proposes 66 more. That is not backup power. That is an industrial fuel depot within 7/10 of a mile of a school filled with children. And please don't tell us the generators will only run during monthly testing or when the power goes out. Given our most recent storm, those 136 generators would have been running 24 hours a day since last Wednesday. That's not even a worst case scenario. What would have been the impact on everyone at Krieger Junior High? What happens to a child with asthma when those generators run? What happens to a teacher with a cardiac condition? What happens to our special education students who are often the most sensitive to noise and disruption? These aren't hypothetical questions. They are questions this council has not yet answered. You are the only ones who can look at this project as a whole. Health, safety, cost, and consequence before it's too late to matter. Krieger's students, families, and staff deserve real answers on the record before building 2 starts. A moratorium is not an obstruction. It is due diligence. It is what a responsible council does when the facts arrived faster than the process built to weigh them. If the council won't pause to ask these questions, understand this. A court will ask them for you, because lawsuits are what happens when teachers, parents, and children go to a school located next to a data center. If the children, the teachers, parents of Krieger Junior High School's welfare is a priority of this council, put the moratorium or ordinance on your September agenda. Thank you. Good night.
Anyone else from the public wish to speak this evening? Anyone from the public wish to speak? Anyone from the public wish to speak? Public comment is now over. Council comment? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Eileen.
Hi, good evening, Council. I would like to third the 2 calls for a moratorium on expansion of any further data center build outs in Michigan City. I would also like to say that to expand any flat cameras or subscribe to a very expensive commitment in the way of a subscription is absolutely absurd. I would also like to say that what Steve just said about the unanswered questions, we have unanswered questions. And if Councilwoman Moldenauer is so concerned about water, dirty water going into Lake Michigan and into Trail Creek, we need answers about the closed loop system and the chemicals put into that water that is certainly going to be blown out when they do their blowdowns, and that water, where is that going to go? We do not have these answers. And yes, copious amounts of water will be used to power that data center, whether on site or at the substation or the coal burning station, whoever is fueling that monster over there on Royal Road that's pending, that's coming our way, thanks to you all, that water is going to be just wasted on what? On what? Do not make the same mistake with flock cameras, please. And absolutely the very least you can do, all of you, every one of you, is put a moratorium on that agenda for the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Any further public comment? Any further public comment? Thank you, everyone. Council comments? Councilman Dabney?
Well, real quick, as I stated, even though most of the room is cleared out, that I would end our council meetings by giving a shout out to a city worker that's been recognized by a department head for the good that they do. So I'll read this quick. I may read it again next week. Like I said, since everybody cleared out. Rudy Vega. He is a foreman maintenance supervisor at the airport. He has worked at the airport for 16 years and transferred to the airport from the park department, where he was employed as a seasonal employee for 4 years. Rudy typically works 9-hour days, 5 days per week, including weekends and many federal holidays, as the airport is open 9 hours a day, 7 days per week. Rudy is amazing at troubleshooting airfield issues with runway lights and other nav aids. He is quick to help airport tenants in need and is most dependable employee. Always at work and always on time. He frequently is called in after hours to fill the Coast Guard helicopters during the summer months when they are working search and rescue missions on Lake Michigan, often in the middle of the night. He has a great attitude. Other airport employees look up to him, and he is very well respected in the aviation community. And as I stated, I'm going to be shouting somebody out at every council meeting. Somebody that is not a department head, that does not get that recognition or seen in the newspaper. These are the everyday workers that make us move forward. And I just wanted to make sure I recognize at least one of them at every one of our council meetings. So give it up for Rudy Vega.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments? Councilwoman Mullenhour?
Thank you, Councilman Prisbalinski. I just want to report that I had the privilege of actually taking the Ball State Community Development Institute course here in Michigan City. And I really do want to give a shout out to Clarence and the Michigan City Economic Development Corporation that made it possible to do that here. I and several staff took this training, and I'll have to say that it was deeply moving and extremely practical. And that's what I'm looking for when I do coursework. Also, I learned something very interesting, that the rural electric cooperatives around our area really didn't have a lot of down power lines or broken poles. And a gentleman who lives in Wanata shared with me that their rural electric cooperative has a routine maintenance program that they go around and survey all of their poles. And they'll actually test their strength by boring a hole in them. And if they find that they're rotten, they will replace them immediately. So my question to NIPSCO is, what kind of a proactive management program do we have for all of our poles locally? And then I just want to give a super huge shout out to the Streets Department, Vector Control, and Refuse Department, all who came together and worked together to get the large trees and the huge limbs that were across our streets cleared in what I thought a very quick manner, considering the state of Michigan City after the storm that went through on Tuesday. I know that in my neighborhood, I couldn't get out except for one way, and it was a way that I had never taken to get out of my neighborhood since I've been living there since 1999. So just kudos to them. Really, they did a superb job for us. our residents and our community. Thank you to them very much.
Okay, thank you. And I just have one more comment, and Tom is sitting right there in front of us. Yeah, and I just wanted to say, Tom, I want to thank you for, I saw you, I think it was yesterday or the day before, you were out picking up trash in the neighborhood, and I saw you on the corner of 11th and Franklin Street with your picker. So thank you very much for doing that. Appreciate it very much. Yep. All right, with that being said, is there a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn. Meeting's adjourned.